Chapter 44. The Power of Yin and Yang. This was a power that could only be obtained through dual cultivation with the mysterious woman. It was almost certain that in this world, only he and the mysterious woman had the power of Yin and Yang. Of course, he and the mysterious woman hadn't officially dual cultivated yet. It was just a fusion of their power. Pa Su Fang was performing the 100 acupoints finger technique at the same time, attacking his body again and again, expelling the impurities in his bone marrow, meridians, and flesh. In his mind, he was also reading the words left by Luo Mushu. Secret Path Realm. These were the experience words for advancing from the flesh-body realm to the Secret Path Realm. The words were vast and there were many. It seemed that Luo Mushu really wanted to cultivate Su Fang. She recorded all the aspects of her advancement into the Secret Path Realm as experience and left them to Su Fang. The Secret Path Realm was a mysterious realm. The flesh-body realm mainly cultivated spiritual veins and spiritual power, shaping spiritual roots, and at the same time cultivating the body. In the Secret Path Realm, one began to cultivate spiritual power and spells, and still insisted on internal and external cultivation. At the moment of advancing into the Secret Path Realm, there would be a heavenly tribulation. The Great Tribulation of the Secret Path, the first tribulation of a cultivator. The Chi-eating realm and the flesh-body realm didn't have a heavenly tribulation, but the flesh-body realm had a heavenly tribulation. There were a total of 2 heavenly tribulations. The first was the Great Tribulation of the flesh-body, which mainly tested the strength of the body. The second heavenly tribulation targeted the energy in the body. Once the Great Tribulation of the Secret Path Realm was passed, one would be recognized by the heavenly Tao and have the spiritual power that only cultivators could have. In the experience left by Luo Mushu, there were detailed records of how to deal with the Great Tribulation of the Secret Path, how to have spiritual power, and how to cleanse the body, especially the spell Tornado Tongue, and how to use spiritual power to activate it. After a few days, the mysterious woman's voice suddenly came from the ancient mirror. Kid, the power of Yin and Yang is constantly forming, and the pure Yang Qi in your body is also becoming stronger. Be prepared, the heavenly tribulation will come soon. Su Fang asked curiously, then, am I a pure Yang body? It's still early, Yang Qi said. Only after you pass the tribulation of the secret passageways will you be considered a pure Yang body. Furthermore, the pure Yang body has only just formed its embryonic shell. That's what protects your fleshly body. Even if you become an immortal, you'll still be cultivating a pure Yang body and forming a pure Yang spirit root. The secret passageways realm is too weak. Immortal. The world you're in is called a minor world. It's the lowest level of the material world. There are countless minor worlds, and above the minor worlds are the major world. The major worlds are even larger and vaster. Most importantly, the major worlds are the worlds where immortals live. So your path of cultivation is still very long. Work hard. Zzz. This was the first time he knew that immortals really existed. Above the star, there was a world of immortals called the Great World. He wanted to continue asking about his curiosity, but he suddenly lost control of the aura in his body. This was the same feeling he had when he reached the great circle of body refinement. Divine Tribulation Su Fang remembered that he was different from all the other flesh embryo cultivators. This was because he was an ancient body refiner, a possessor of a perfect fleshly body. Moreover, he had overcome a heaven-defying tribulation, known as the fate-changing tribulation. When Xiao Chen raised his head to look, he saw that there was indeed a dark cloud 300 meters above the valley. It was growing increasingly majestic. At the same time, an uncontrollable energy suddenly rushed out of his body. When he sensed it more deeply, he realized that his Qi had shattered. There was an illusion that his body was burning, and there was a feeling that his energy was about to disappear. Channel Relaxation Pill, Nirvana? Pill. The heavenly tribulation was coming. Su Fang took out the immortal pills he had prepared. He first consumed a channel relaxation pill, then raised his head to look at the sky. He saw a black cloud 3 meters high floating above his head, about to cover the entire valley. He immediately stood up and stared at the black cloud. Luo Muxue said that it's best to use Dharma treasures to overcome the tribulation. Without Dharma treasures, I can only use my own strength to shatter 2 heavenly tribulations. Su Fang had Dharma treasures. The 7 stars life-chasing flying sword and the brute force spiritual bow were the Dharma treasures he had. Most flesh embryo cultivators would not have Dharma treasures during their tribulation, but Su Fang had several Dharma treasures. I've already changed my fate, so I won't use Dharma treasures. I'll use my own strength to shatter 2 heavenly tribulations. If there's no other way, I'll use the 7 stars life-chasing flying sword. He first summoned the 7 stars life-chasing flying sword and let it float in the distance. Then, he condensed the dragon snake scroll. He opened his palms, and 2 vortex-like red auras began to run. Bang! The black cloud in the sky suddenly shook. It was really scary, and he did not know what it was going to do. Following that, lightning flashed. Suddenly, a series of tearing lightning bolts struck toward Su Fang. The first heavenly tribulation is mainly to purify the energy in the body, testing the abundance of energy. Whoosh! The 2 vortex-like auras in his hands merged together. Suddenly, 2 dragon-like and snake-like forces intertwined like dragons and snakes, meeting the falling lightning heavenly tribulation. Boom! The lightning scattered the dragon snake scroll and cut a hole. It was too domineering, and then it continued to kill Su Fang. Sword, heart, finger. He was already prepared. If one spell was not enough, he still had other spells to deal with the heavenly tribulation. This time, he used the primordial yang qi to condense the sword heart finger, and it was 10 feet long. He pointed 2 fingers at the lightning, and the sword qi pierced the lightning. Buzz! The lightning received 2 attacks from Su Fang, and Su Fang's energy was originally comparable to 3 ordinary 10th-layer flesh embryo realm experts. Therefore, the dragon snake scroll and sword heart finger were more robust and powerful. Finally, the sword qi and the lightning dissipated together, and suddenly, some electric threads automatically entered Su Fang's body. When the electric threads drilled into his body, the energy in his body suddenly went through. Crackle! Suddenly, from the dark clouds, a black flame tribulation fire poured down. This is the second heavenly tribulation to break the body. After breaking this black flame tribulation fire, then I can swallow nirvana? Dan, start the purification of the body and energy. Pung! Su Fang stimulated his body, and every part of his flesh and blood was under Su Fang's control. He felt that every part of his body was different and powerful. 10 horses of divine power. Seeing the black flame tribulation fire falling, Su Fang activated the energy in his body. He felt that the energy in his body was like a fierce horse galloping. It was not 10, but at least dozens of fierce horses. This was the power of the body running and exploding. Boom! Su Fang actually used his fist to fuse with spiritual power. At this moment, his fist turned blood-red, and with a blood-red flame, he used all his strength to attack the black flame tribulation fire. The blood-red fist hit the black flame tribulation fire. In Su Fang's senses, the black flame tribulation fire was not an ordinary flame. It had weight and was soft like clouds. No matter what, under the full power of Su Fang's perfect realm physical body, the black flame tribulation fire was suppressed for 3 breaths. Then, with a rumble, the center was shattered by the fist, and a large number of fragments of black flame scattered in the sky. Woo! Su Fang was like a big bow stretching his body. After shattering the black flame tribulation fire, he finally smiled. His body also loosened, and his whole body was incomparably smooth. At the same time, the shattered flame qi, along with the remaining power of the heavenly tribulation, poured into Su Fang's body like before. He immediately felt that his body did not belong to him. His whole body set off an astonishing vibration, and a layer of black liquid could be seen on his skin. At this moment, in the depths of his dantian, a blazing power exploded and directly rose. Through the 100 orifices, the reverse blood vessels, as if blood chi was rushing to the head. Hurry up and swallow the nirvana that was prepared. Pill. Buzz. As his body was cleansed by the remaining power of the heavenly tribulation and poured into his head, a buzzing sound suddenly exploded in his mind, causing Su Fang to feel dizzy. His head felt as if it was about to explode. Nirvana? The effect of the pill began to dissipate, and the slightly cool medicinal power spread throughout his body. All the energy poured into his dantian, and his muscles and blood chi also began to operate. Then, his mind was still heavy, and it was very disgusting. That mysterious energy began to rush from the body to the head. He was about to suffocate and lose consciousness. Buzz. At the critical moment when he was about to be unable to hold on, the energy suddenly disappeared. In the depths of his mind, there was suddenly some energy condensing, and a mysterious aura spread out from his eyes. At this moment, his eyes became clearer and deeper. Moreover, his head was no longer dizzy or heavy. He felt very empty, as if there was an infinitely large internal world in his mind. Could this be the divine aperture? The divine aperture. Su Fang thought of the very important words mentioned in Luo Mushue's cultivation experience. After advancing to the secret path realm, there would be power rushing to the head, forming mana. And the place where the mana was located was the divine aperture. The divine aperture was the most mysterious place in the depths of the brain. It was the sea of human thoughts, and the energy space where the mana would be channeled and supernatural powers would be condensed. It was like a bridge, a channel for the human body to communicate with nature. With the divine aperture as a channel, the mana could receive the power of heaven and earth, and use it with spells to release supernatural powers. Supernatural powers were spells, and the power in nature was combined to produce incredible power. With the divine aperture, the mana could be combined with the profound meaning and elements in nature. The heavenly tribulation has disappeared. He was too focused on the divine aperture, and suddenly felt his body calm down. He looked up and saw that more than an hour had passed. The dark clouds in the sky disappeared, and the strong light from the 2 suns shone into his body. Looking at his body again, the surface was covered in stinky stains. He felt that his skin was as soft and tender as a 7 or 8-year-old child. At the same time, he felt that his pores could breathe, because there was a subtle feeling of air and energy flowing through his body. His expression suddenly tightened, and he looked behind him. He thought it was a demon beast, but it turned out to be a caterpillar eating grass. Because of his hearing, he could hear the caterpillar's slender legs crawling clearly, and he could also see its eyes clearly. Every time it moved, the sound it made felt very loud, as if a monster was attacking from behind. After breaking through to the secret path realm, his perfect physical body had also undergone a great transformation. It was just that the energy in his body was too little, and because the spiritual energy was much purer, it caused the energy in his body to shrink greatly, and his meridians became thicker, and his dantian became much more majestic. The secret path realm, just my senses alone have undergone a tremendous change. Coupled with the transformation of my spiritual energy and physical body, my strength is no longer the same as before. He put away the 7 stars life-chasing sword and quickly washed his body. Suddenly, he felt that he had grown taller, and his steps were light and full of power. After changing his clothes, he sat down cross-legged and pointed the origin sacred mirror at the 2 suns in the sky. He used the red origin yang qi to activate the ancient mirror and began to absorb the yang qi, and wanted to talk to the mysterious woman. Sure enough, when he activated the ancient mirror and absorbed the yang qi, a cold qi leaked out. I can already feel that your soul has become stronger. Looks like you have successfully broken through to the secret path realm. Congratulations, from this moment onwards, you have the divine aperture and spiritual energy. You can cultivate spells, and in the future, you will be able to master divine abilities. Su Fang's heart was filled with doubts. He took a channel relaxation pill and hurriedly asked, Senior, why can't I feel the divine aperture's specific existence? I only feel that the depths of my mind are very empty, and I can't feel any spiritual energy. The author's words. Today is New Year's Day, the first day of the new year, and it didn't explode, mainly because I suddenly had to visit relatives, and it would take 2 days. If I couldn't write in these 2 days, it wouldn't explode, and I would have to keep updating every day. Chapter 45. If you can sense your divine aperture and magic power, then you really are a freak. The mysterious woman's voice faintly rang out. Fortunately, this was a supreme divine ability. If it had been an ordinary voice, it would have been hard to hear. You've just reached the secret path realm, so your magic power is at most a sliver. Naturally, you can't sense it. Your divine aperture is also very empty. You need to cultivate step by step to be able to sense it. Then does Junior have a pure yang body? You already have a pure yang spirit root, so you can be considered a pure yang body. But you still need to cultivate and absorb more yang qi. You need to obtain more treasures with yang qi to strengthen your pure yang body. Right now, the energy in your body is no longer primordial yang qi, but 9 yang qi. Primordial yang qi comes from the divine mirror, and the energy inside the divine mirror is called 9 yang qi. It is the purest yang qi, and it is also the only energy that can be used to cultivate the 9 yang 9 transformations. Other yang qi cannot cultivate the 9 yang 9 transformations. Only 9 yang qi can fuse with the 9 yang 9 transformations. Next, your cultivation is to consolidate your divine aperture and condense your magic power. You need the 9 yang 9 transformations to grow faster. I will now teach you the first transformation. Once you reach the peak of the first transformation, you will learn the second to 9th transformations. The first transformation requires you to condense 9 yang meridians. By cultivating the 9 meridians in your body, you have to repeatedly temper them with 9 yang qi until they become pure yang meridians. Once the 9 yang meridians are formed, you will reach the peak of the first transformation. As soon as the mysterious woman finished her sentence, a stream of icy qi transformed into magical words that flew into Su Fang's mind. Su Fang was completely absorbed in listening. What yang meridians? What 9 transformations? He was curious and puzzled. After a while, the cold qi disappeared from the ancient mirror, and the words also disappeared. Gradually, dusk arrived. The primordial sacred mirror lost its scarlet luster and turned back into an ordinary ancient mirror. Su Fang sat there without moving. It seemed he was still digesting the 9 yang 9 transformations. He sat there for 3 whole days. The 2 suns rose, and when the primordial chaos sacred mirror once again absorbed the energy of heaven and earth and took the initiative to enter Su Fang's body, Su Fang gradually opened his eyes. Su Fang took a deep breath and then smiled. I've finally remembered every word and every sentence. Yang meridians, the first level of the 9 yang 9 transformations, is to cultivate 9 yang meridians in the 9 meridians closest to the dantian. Once the 9 meridians are formed, the second transformation will allow you to cultivate 18 yang meridians. The third transformation will allow you to cultivate 27 yang meridians. When you reach the 9th transformation, you will cultivate 81 yang meridians. That will allow you to reach the peak of the 9 yang 9 transformations. For you to be able to understand the 9 yang transformations in just a few short days, you really aren't simple. The mysterious woman's voice rang out again along with the cold air. When I reached 81 yang meridians, did I successfully cultivate the 9 yang 9 transformations? Su Fang asked respectfully. Of course not. The 9 yang 9 transformations is just a divine mirror cultivation technique you possess. Once you cultivate it, you will need to fuse it with my 9E9 transformations to create a truly peerless divine technique from the primordial chaos sacred mirror. So troublesome? Could it be that the 9 yang 9 transformations is just a portion of the technique? Of course. This is a dual cultivation technique. Once you cultivate 81 yang meridians, and I cultivate 81 yin meridians, we will fuse our yang meridians and yin meridians. Then we will fuse our 2 divine mirrors and activate them together. That will give birth to a new divine technique. That's what I learned from the ancient mirror. That's why the divine mirror is a peerless treasure. And in this world, only you and I can fuse with it. The 9 yang true qi is the most unyielding and powerful of yang qi. It will allow you to possess a pure yang body that every man would envy. In the future, you will slowly understand how wonderful it is. You've already fused with the 9 yang 9 transformations. At the same time, this technique is accompanied by a divine ability. It's not a magical art, but a divine ability. It's not an ordinary divine ability, but something that surpasses all divine abilities. It's called the giant diamond body. The giant diamond body. This is a peerless divine ability. Furthermore, it requires a cultivator who has reached the peak of the Great Circle to be able to cultivate it. This divine ability is easy to understand. It uses your yang meridians to fuse with your physical body. For example, one of your fingers will become gigantic. It can be 3 meters long, or 30 meters, or even 300 meters long. If it's your fist, it will become as large as a mountain. In the future, you will be able to destroy a planet with a single punch. If it's that monstrous, then wouldn't I become a giant? That's right. That's how extraordinary the giant diamond body is. Think about how small humans are compared to sea demons. But if a human can become as large as a sea demon, just how terrifying would their strength be? Then Senior, hurry up and teach this junior the giant diamond body. Giant. If one's fingers, fists, and body could become as large as a sea demon, just how powerful would that be? At that time, with just a single step, they would be able to flatten a mountain and cut the 10,000 Abyss River in half. Just thinking about it made one's blood boil. What Tianmen province? With a single palm, they would be able to uproot mountains and rivers. All the Dao halls would be destroyed. Divine abilities. You'll know what divine abilities are in the future. It's very difficult to cultivate divine abilities in the secret path realm. Forcing it won't do you any good. Once you reach that realm, you'll naturally understand. Furthermore, the giant diamond body is a peerless divine ability. Do you think you can casually cultivate it at any realm? You're dreaming. Su Fang also felt that this was too much of a fantasy. Junior truly was too impatient. There's a reason why I didn't want you to cultivate divine abilities so early. In the future, you will have a golden core. Once your golden core is formed, every divine ability you cultivate will have a huge impact on you. Once your divine ability is formed, it will condense a divine mark on your golden core. That's an extremely important existence. Since you don't know what a golden core is, let's talk next time. The cold qi suddenly vanished from the ancient mirror. Su Fang looked at the ancient mirror. As expected, he couldn't sense any cold qi. I have to work hard on cultivating the giant diamond body. I must have that kind of peerless divine ability. His pounding heart began to return to normal. He slowly absorbed primordial yang qi from the ancient mirror. As for the weak 9 yang true qi in his body, it began to form a vortex in the depths of his qi sea. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Illusion cloud rope. in a mountain range that was gradually turning yellow. Ao ao! A long-haired monster miserably smashed through a large tree and then charged into an even wider forest. Swoosh! Suddenly, a streak of golden light flew from behind like a golden snake. With a whoosh, it wrapped itself around the long-haired monster. The monster was like a boulder that smashed into the ground. Su Fong rushed over from behind. When he saw the golden rope, he was overjoyed. Kong bag, illusion cloud rope, and flying sword. These 3 treasures are essential magical treasures for cultivators. No wonder they're so easy to use. They can transform into different sizes. Dealing with ordinary demon beasts isn't a problem. The 3 treasures of cultivation. Su Fong had already grasped the Kong bag, illusion cloud rope, and 7-star life-chasing sword. Chi! The primordial chaos holy mirror shone on the monster on the ground. Suddenly, a large amount of feces and dark blood appeared. However, they were all burned by the flame and absorbed into the ancient mirror, turning into an energy bead. He actually placed the bead directly on his right arm, and his right arm released a familiar purple chi that directly absorbed the bead's yang chi. This was the ability Su Fong unintentionally discovered after advancing to the secret path realm. Originally, the bead needed to be taken orally, but his right arm could directly absorb it like a magic weapon fragment. He wanted to find out why, but he could only ask the senior in the ancient mirror next time. A moment later, he came to a distant mountain peak and issued a command. A hidden winged beast flew over. This was the mount assigned to him by Tianmen province. He had been cultivating in this mountain for a month, and he had always let the hidden winged beast hide in the mountains. Star Dual Sand Plains. In the afternoon, the familiar yellow sand world covered his face. Star Dual Sand Plains, just like yesterday, the sky was filled with flying sand and stones, and the sandstorm castle was faintly discernible. Who goes there? Just as he was about to fly into the sandstorm castle, and was less than 1,000 meters away, a hidden winged beast suddenly flew out from the yellow sand. A flying feather army member appeared on its back. Su Fong immediately threw the token to the other party. After looking at it, he formed a seal and returned the token to Su Fong. He also opened the way for him and led him into the sandstorm castle. Junior brother Su. In the plaza, Yu Junqi and Lianzhan had just arrived. When they looked up, they saw Su Fong descending swiftly with the hidden winged beast. With a bang, Su Fong jumped off the ground. He looked like a completely different person from a month ago. Yu Junqi was pleasantly surprised. Congratulations, junior brother, for entering the secret path realm. Our team's combat power has increased again. Officially a member of the Flying Feather Army. There are more than 100 people in the Flying Feather Army. Most of them are in the secret path realm. Everyone is equipped with a basic magic treasure, such as an empty bag. However, if you want to have an offensive magic treasure, you still need to make contributions. Once you have made a certain amount of contributions, you can have a magic treasure. The two brought Su Fong into a stone corridor. After passing through, they arrived at a stone castle with several stone houses on the side. The Sandstorm Castle's environment could not be compared to Tianmen province. Not only were there sandstorms everywhere, but there were also no immortals' caves. When they arrived at the main hall of the castle, they saw Qiulingji sitting at the very front. Six Feng and Li Suqing sat below. When Six Feng saw that Su Fong had an ordinary aura, they hid the sharpness in their eyes. They smiled and welcomed Su Fong to the Sandstorm Castle. The five of them sat on both sides of the lower end. Qiulingji praised Su Fong and congratulated him for becoming a member of the Flying Feather Army. Then, her expression was cold and solemn. The six of us will be a separate team. I will be the captain. In the future, we will work hard to complete missions, especially to take care of Su Fong. He is only at the first layer of the secret path. It will not be easy for him to survive in this star dual sand field. Su Fong, You do not have time to adapt. Right now, I will pass on to you the combined attack array. This is an array that everyone in the Flying Feather Army knows. It can allow the 6 of us to combine our strength and use it to the limit. 3 days later, we will go to a new desert area and hunt down some bandit. Everyone, prepare yourselves well. After Qiulingji assigned the mission, other than Su Fang, the other 4 left the main castle. She used sound transmission to pass on a technique called the Mount Tai Grand Aura Array to Su Fang. She then said in a low voice, "This one wants to establish a personal guard in the Flying Feather Army. Su Fang, you are now this one's most important candidate. Your potential is also what this one looks forward to the most. In the future, you must be more careful. Even if this one knows that you do not get along with 6 Feng, you cannot warn 6 Feng. If you suspect someone, don't use him." Su Fang cupped his fist. "This disciple will grasp the Mount Tai Grand Aura Array as soon as possible. I will not disappoint milord." Following Qiulingji's nod, Su Fang left the main castle. "I want to lead the Silver Moon team to become the Flying Feather Army's strongest battle team." Qiulingji slowly stood up. And at this moment, that expert called Qi Xinshui brought several people to see her. Chapter 46. Mount Tai Grand Aura Formation is a combination of 18 paths and 36 major transformations. It uses spirit power to condense the formation, and the strongest martial artist will absorb the power of the formation and use the spell to increase everyone's strength to the maximum. Inside an ordinary stone house, after spending 2 days, Su Fang was studying the Mount Tai Grand Aura Formation. Formation method. This was also his first time coming into contact with it. The Mount Tai Grand Aura Formation was actually used to trap everyone together, twist them into a rope, and use the formation to unleash everyone's strength. The Mount Tai Grand Aura Formation required one to grasp many hand seals, which required bitter cultivation and forced memorization. The hand seals were then fused with the spirit patterns, and the spirit patterns were the foundation. The spirit patterns formed different hand seals and finally formed the Mount Tai Grand Aura Formation. A few days later, today, junior brother, you will lead the team. I will take a detour in the desert and coordinate with you. The 5 mounts stood valiantly in the plaza as Qiulingji rode her purple bell unicorn colt over. They were about to go to the desert to fight with the bandit. Apart from Qiulingji and Yujunki, the other 4 were clearly nervous. Yujunki took the lead and rushed into the clouds while the others followed closely behind. Qiulingji rode her unicorn colt into the clouds and kept a certain distance from Yujunki and the others. Soon, they entered the desert world. The wind and sand were blowing wildly, and it was obvious that the sand Tua monsters had created a whirlpool in the desert. Suddenly, a small town was faintly discernible in the wind and sand. Yujunki introduced, "The ruins of the ancient city in front might be a temporary hiding place for some of the bandit. Everyone must be careful. When these ancient cities were built, there were many tunnels and secret doors. The bandits roamed the desert and always liked to study these methods." Hoo. The 5 landed outside the ancient city, and the 5 mounts immediately flew into the sky. Back to back, with Yujunki as the center, they carefully entered the ancient city. It was unknown how many years the ancient city had been swallowed by the desert, but it was still sturdy. It was just not as prosperous as before and seemed to be in decline. Being in such a place was like being in a tomb. It was as if there were eyes everywhere observing their every move from the dark. When they reached the center of the ancient city, their field of vision widened. They couldn't see anyone, and they couldn't feel any signs of life. Yujunki waved his hand and asked everyone to split up and search for the secret doors. Swish, swish, swish. Just as the 5 of them were about to move, a lot of yellow sand gushed out from their surroundings. Then, more than a dozen bandits with bows and crossbows appeared. They condensed spiritual power arrows and shot poisonous arrows at the 5 of them. The desert bandits looked like they were prepared for this. Instead of being chased by the flying feather army, they might as well launch a surprise attack. This was what made the desert bandits so difficult to deal with. Junki did not panic at all. Mount Tai Noble Spirit Formation. Not. They formed hand seals at the same time. Wung, a large amount of spiritual chi exploded from their bodies. With Junki at the center, it formed a transparent chi formation with Xian Guang. Bang bang, the poisonous arrows hit the chi formation like raindrops, but they were shattered by the chi formation. After the shattered arrows were shattered, they turned into traces of poisonous gas and disappeared. It turned out that the bandits also knew magic. Although it was a simple magic, it was mixed with poison. Coupled with the fact that they had the advantage in numbers, if they did not have the Mount Tai Noble Spirit Array, those people would not have been able to withstand it. You guys control the formation. I will kill these bandits. Junki suddenly formed a hand seal and absorbed a portion of the spiritual chi in the chi formation. As he waved his hand, cloud lion roars appeared one after another. When so many cloud lion roars appeared, Su Fang instantly felt that a portion of his energy was being sucked away. Lian Zhan, Six Feng, and Li Suqing also felt this. It looked like the Mount Tai Noble Spirit Formation had both advantages and disadvantages. Bang bang bang! Several earth walls around them exploded. The cloud lion roars were magic, and its power was greater than the poisonous arrows. The places where the bandits were hiding exploded one after another. Kill! Junki formed his sword Heartfinger and took out his illusion cloud rope. Then, he rushed toward the explosion. Lian Zhan, Six Feng, and Li Suqing also activated their own magic and chased after him as fast as they could. Su Fang patted his empty bag, and the illusion cloud rope appeared in midair. Other than Li Suqing, everyone else had empty bags. Only Junki and Su Fang had magic treasures. Lian Zhan and Six Feng had not received any magic treasures yet. However, it was unknown if they had any magic treasures themselves. Whoosh, Su Fang arrived in front of a collapsed city wall that was spewing out dust. Then, a bandit tried to use the dust to escape. Su Fang was a great perfection realm cultivator. His hearing, senses, and vision were all amazing. Without even looking, he knew that the bandit was hiding inside. Hearing the bandit's running footsteps, speed, and nervous breathing, Su Fang flicked his finger, and the illusion cloud rope flashed toward the bandit. With a whoosh, the bandit was tied up. In a flash, he arrived in front of the bandit. Seeing that the bandit was so scared that his body was purple and his eyes were filled with ferocity, Su Fang waved his finger and poked a few times on the bandit's body. Then, he patted his empty bag and sucked the bandit into it. With the illusion cloud rope, he flashed to the right side of the explosion. Junior brother Su, be careful of the poisonous scorpions under your feet. He saw the bandit's body in the ruins. His body had exploded. When he came to the other side of the city wall, he heard Li Suqing's painful cries. Looking down, he saw a scorpion tail sticking out from the sand. The poisonous stinger was hibernating, looking for a target. These bandits are too cunning. If I get poisoned here, I won't be able to get help even if I cry for help. He spat out a stream of energy, sending the yellow sand flying. One by one, the poisonous scorpions died. When Su Fang came to the corner of the wall, he saw Li Suqing painfully releasing her sword chi and leaning against the wall. Her right leg was swollen with a poisonous lump the size of a steamed bun. Whoosh! Luckily, Jiang Yi had mastered the 100 acupoints finger art and was very familiar with the human body's bloodline. Thus, he used the finger art to seal the main bloodline in her right leg. This way, he could prevent the poisonous gas from entering other parts of her body. Li Suqing could clearly feel that the pain was disappearing. Her expression instantly returned to normal. She hurriedly pointed and said, "Junior brother, look at that crack. The bandit has escaped into the secret passage. Go and chase after him." With the illusion cloud rope, You can capture the bandit and seize his treasures. Then, you will be able to make a contribution and stand out among your peers. Contribution in the Flying Feather Army. If one wanted to climb up step by step and become an important person like Qiulingji, one had to make a contribution. Furthermore, it was not just once or twice, but many times. Jiang Yi didn't kill the bandit earlier because he wanted to capture him alive to make a contribution. Su Fang patted Li Suqing's shoulder and immediately rushed to the crack in the short wall. He pushed open the secret door, and there was indeed a passage. However, just as he was about to enter, he heard the sound of wind rushing toward him. In a flash, it turned out to be a poisonous arrow. Su Fang's eyes moved. He waved his hand, and waves of force shot into the secret passage. He didn't care how many people there were, who they were, or how many people he could injure. When he listened carefully, he heard two sounds of blood spurting out and the sound of heartbeat. It seemed like there were only 2 bandits in this secret passage, and they had been injured by his powerful force. He released the aura and speed of 10 horses worth of divine strength and flashed into the secret passage. Boom! Boom! He actually used the aura and strength of a martial saint to send the 2 bandits flying. Pa! Pa! Jiang Yi pointed his finger art again, sealing the important acupoints and bloodline in their bodies. This way they couldn't circulate their energy and their bodies couldn't move at all. They were just like mortals without any threat. The space in the empty bag is too small. I can barely fit these 2 people. Jiang Yi patted the empty bag, and a suction force shot out from the empty bag, sucking the 2 bandits in. Jiang Yi then picked up 2 big bows from the ground. Although they weren't spirit treasures, they were made of cold iron. In addition, the bandits could condense arrow-like spells, so they could be as powerful as spirit treasures. The inside of the secret passage was very dark, and he could only see a few feet in front of him. At this time, the power of a martial saint showed an unparalleled advantage. With his hearing, Su Fang could hear any movement within 100 meters. As long as there were bandits, he could hear their heartbeat. However, when Su Fang went very deep into the secret passage, he still didn't find any bandit. It seemed that the bandits hiding here were indeed some roving bandits who had temporarily settled down here. In the end, they encountered the Flying Feather Army and panicked. Junior brother Su. A figure rushed over from another secret passage. Su Fang had already heard this person's movements. He knew that this person wasn't a bandit, so he deliberately pretended to be quiet and waited for the figure to arrive. It turned out to be Lianzhan. Lianzhan laughed and asked, "Have you killed bandits?" Su Fang cupped his fists and said, "I caught a few alive." "Where's senior brother?" "You have the illusion cloud rope. It's easy to catch them alive." "I killed 2 bandits. According to our rules, if I kill 3 more bandits, I can earn a small military merit. When the military merit accumulates to a certain extent, I can exchange it for a transcendent artifact." "All right, let's continue to see if there are any bandits left." The 2 of them went to a new secret passage and moved forward cautiously. After searching for several hours, they didn't find any more bandit. The 2 of them left the secret passage to meet up with the others. Li Suqing seemed to have taken an antidote elixir and seemed to be able to hold on. One by one, the bandits' corpses were dragged out. Su Fang also released 3 bandits who were captured alive. Capturing 1 alive was a military merit. Now that Su Fang had captured 3 bandits alive, that was 3 small military merit. Everyone was very envious. Six Feng also captured 1. Needless to say, Yu Junqi also captured 3 bandit. The rest were all killed. There were more than 10 bandits in total, and it seemed like none of them had escaped. Yu Junqi recorded them one by one. He also recorded the weapons that everyone had collected. These were all military merits. Once they accumulated enough, they could exchange it for a transcendent artifact like the illusion cloud rope. Especially the armor that Yu Junqi was wearing. It was also a transcendent artifact, and its quality was similar to the immortal thorn armor. With this armor, he looked like a member of the Flying Feather Army. Everyone entered the secret passage to search for a few more days. When they didn't find any bandits, they immediately rode their mounts and left the ancient city. Wind Sand Castle Qiulingji gave everyone a meridian loosening elixir. Then, she asked Su Fang to stay behind alone. You now know the Sword Heart Finger and the Mount Tai Noble Aura Array. I heard from Junior Brother Yu that you are very familiar with the Mount Tai Noble Aura Array. You are indeed cultivating diligently. Disciple will not disappoint Milord's expectations. Su Fang replied. Now I will teach you a new technique. Do you want to learn the Wind Sand technique or the Cloud Lion Roar or some other technique? I'll take the Cloud Lion Roar. I saw Senior Brother Yu use this technique. Its power is too powerful. Su Fang chose the Cloud Lion Roar. Remember this well. This is the main cultivation technique. Qiulingji softly passed the Cloud Lion Roar cultivation technique to Su Fang. Like this, he would be able to grasp two basic techniques and an array. In the blink of an eye, several months passed. 2 suns hung high in the sky, and the star-dual sand plains were filled with flames. I still haven't seen any bandits pass through here. This mission is to ambush the bandits that have escaped from Kulu Valley. That place is one of the main branches of the Sand Bandit boss Hong. One person was hiding in the vast desert. So it turned out he was carrying out a mission. There was no movement in the yellow sand world. Su Fang continued to sit cross-legged, facing the 2 suns. He cultivated the first stage of the 9 Yang 9 transformations technique. He wanted to condense 9 Yang meridians in the 9 main meridians around his dantian. The 9 Yang 9 transformations required 9 Yang true qi to cultivate. Now that he had condensed his divine aperture, he possessed a certain amount of magic power. He could directly condense qi with his physical body, absorbing the energy of heaven and earth into his body. Chapter 47. It wasn't easy to condense the Yang meridian. He found a meridian above his dantian and used the 9 Yang 9 transformations technique to channel his 9 Yang true qi into it. Unfortunately, his cultivation was too weak. He couldn't completely control, and sense this meridian. Therefore, it was very difficult to cultivate. After thinking about it, he decided to condense more 9 Yang true qi. It wouldn't be too late to condense the Yang meridian after his cultivation level increased. The 9 Yang 9 transformations technique had another great advantage. It allowed Su Fang to absorb the Yang energy of heaven and earth and condense more 9 Yang true qi in his body. His energy was constantly increasing. Buzz! After guarding for a few days, suddenly, the token on his waist buzzed. This movement made Su Fang immediately stop cultivating. He stuck his head out to look at the vast sandstorm. Swish! After a few breaths, a black shadow suddenly swept over. Su Fang focused his vision and saw 2 flying swords. There were 5 people on each flying sword. A total of 10 bandits were flying towards the desert. They are riding on flying swords. They are experts among the bandits. Only Yu Junki and Qiulingji can use flying swords to suppress them. The few of us can't stop them at all. Since the order was issued, Su Fang gritted his teeth and prepared to attack. The bandits were getting closer and closer. It seemed like there were too many of them. The flying swords were constantly flying close to the ground. The bandits were all using gauze to wrap their faces and neck. It seemed like none of them were in the Chi Eater realm. They were all in the flesh body realm or the secret path realm. Buzz! They were still 1,000 meters away. Suddenly 2 swords pierced through the air. The swords were emitting a terrifying sword light. There were 2 flying swords inside. Boom! Boom! The bandits were flustered. 2 of them rode on their flying swords and immediately clashed with the incoming flying swords. There were clanging sounds in the air. Swish! In the air, 2 demonic beasts pounced towards the bandits. Qiulingji and Yu Junki charged out. Su Fong leaped to his feet and strode towards the bandits, who were in a complete mess. At the same time, Six Feng, Lian Zhan, and Li Suqing flashed out from the other three sides of the desert. They used their spells to surround and kill the bandits who were escaping. Flying Scorpion! Su Fong suddenly leaped up. The two bandits in front did not allow Su Fong to get close. With a wave of their hands, large black scorpions flew out from their sleeves. It seemed like the most common weapon used by the bandits was the scorpion. Su Fong used Cloud Lion Roar, and with a roar, the aura of a beast's head blasted out. It opened its mouth wide and bit at the poisonous scorpion. Pa! The Cloud Lion Roar bit the poisonous scorpion to pieces, and then bit one of the bandits. Yes. The other bandit looked like a desperado. He grabbed two curved blades and threw them at Su Fong's neck and lower abdomen. Whoosh! He slapped the empty bag with his right hand, and the golden fantasy cloud rope swept out like a golden snake. With two clangs, it shattered the two scimitars. Qi raising two fingers, Xiao Chen pounced forward like a ferocious tiger. Two streams of sword qi tore through the sandstorm and split the bandit's head apart. The sword Heart Finger's sword qi was over 3 meters long. Any object or enemy within this range would be killed by the sword qi. Adding on Su Fong's 9 yang true qi, it was extremely domineering and abnormally tough. How could an ordinary bandit block such an attack? As for the other injured bandit, Su Fong sealed his acupuncture points and looked ahead. Six Feng, Lian Zhan, and Li Suqing were surrounding and killing several bandits. In the air, two powerful bandits were using their flying swords to fight against Qiu Lingji and Yu Junqi. Sword qi was everywhere and sword light flashed. This was the ability of a true expert to control a flying sword. Lian Zhan suddenly shouted, "Junior apprentice brother, there are 2 more bandits rushing towards you." Su Fong immediately locked his gaze. Sure enough, there were 2 bandits rushing over. One of them was tall and the other was short, so he couldn't see their faces clearly. The tall bandit was emitting a violent, murderous aura. He had already released a series of highly toxic arrows. He raised his hand and drew his bow. Arrows condensed from poisonous gas and spiritual power flew over. Hua Xiao Chen's pupils suddenly constricted. At this moment, he felt as if the world had slowed down. Su Fong saw the speed of the 3 arrows. In his eyes, they were becoming slower and slower. Seeing an opportunity, he shook his right arm and shot out a Cloud Lion Roar from his palm. The Cloud Lion Roar crushed the 3 poisonous arrows and shot towards the taller bandit. This bandit's cultivation seemed to be higher than Su Fong's. He immediately brought the shorter bandit with him, dodging the Cloud Lion Roar. Then he opened his mouth and shot out a thin needle. Clang! He thought that such a hidden weapon would be able to catch Su Fong off guard and kill him. Su Fong was already prepared. He knew that bandits had many tricks up their sleeves and liked to launch sneak attack. He didn't think too much about it. With a thrust of his sword qi, he knocked away the flying needle. Flying Star Snake Needle. The taller bandit seemed to have realized that Su Fong wasn't a simple person. He raised his arm and aimed his sleeve at Su Fong. Then he shot out a rain of needles. There was nowhere to hide. The attack area of the needles was too large. Su Fong raised his mental power to its peak. Looking around, he saw dozens of finger-length needles shooting towards his body from different angles. Su Fong formed Sword Heart Finger with both hands at the same time. He was now facing a bandit whose cultivation was much higher than his. He could only use his strength to block his opponent. Xiao Su Fong moved. He felt as if he was a huge snake that had suddenly shaken its body. In the blink of an eye, sword qi pierced through the air several times. Clang, clang, clang. Some of the needles were accurately knocked away. The taller bandit was shocked. He had released so many hidden weapons, but he hadn't injured Su Fong. Rock spreads its wings. The bandit also shot out some hidden weapons. At the same time, he spread his arms behind him. His entire body was like a giant eagle that was about to pounce on its prey. As his arms moved, a terrifying gust of wind similar to the sandstorm technique rolled out. Because of this gust of wind, the speed and trajectory of the hidden weapons changed. As the gust of wind swept Su Fang, the hidden weapons also moved in different directions, as if they were alive and wanted to swallow Su Fang whole. In a breath, Su Fang's expression became serious. Drops of cold sweat also appeared on his forehead. Clang clang, some of the hidden weapons hit his chest, but they were knocked away because of the immortal thorn armor. Su Fang released a powerful burst of energy and tried his best to hit the hidden weapons. Two more hidden needles hit his left shoulder and thigh. However, he didn't retreat. Instead, he used Cloud Lion's roar and started to bite the gust of wind. Kill! At this moment, Lien Zhan and Six Feng rushed over. The three of them worked together to deal with the taller bandit. They either used Sword Chi or Cloud Lion's roar. After a few breaths, Six Feng released a Sword Chi and pierced the bandit's chest. The shorter bandit hurriedly tried to escape. However, Su Fang released the illusion cloud rope and wrapped it around her body in time. In the end, she fell into the yellow sand. Lien Zhan looked at Su Fang's 2 black wounds. "Junior brother, you've been poisoned." "I'm fine. I've sealed my bloodline and stopped the flow of blood qi. As long as I don't circulate my qi, I'll be fine." Su Fang heaved a sigh of relief and sat cross-legged on the ground to rest. Lien Zhan and Six Feng caught the shorter bandit. When they took off her veil, a woman with a hot body and exposed shoulders and a small snake belly was revealed. The few of them were stunned. They looked at the female bandit in surprise. Not only was her body hot, but her appearance was also very outstanding. She had a seductive aura that men couldn't resist. "Catch the female bandit first." Lien Zhan hurriedly wrapped the woman's body with gauze while Six Feng went to help Li Suqing. Only the last bandit was still struggling. High up in the sky, Qiulingji controlled her flying sword. The flying sword transformed into more sword qi, like a sword-shaped sun, and suddenly shot towards the 2 strong bandit. Yu Junqi's strength wasn't as strong as Qiulingji, but he was able to distract her. Qiulingji shouldn't be a secret path realm expert. She was still able to control the countless sword qi with ease. The large amount of sword qi gradually suppressed the 2 bandit experts. If one didn't have absolute confidence, one wouldn't be able to easily capture a bandit of this level alive. It was best to kill them on the spot. Killing such experts, coupled with the flying sword, could also help Team Silvermoon gain merit. Pa! The 2 corpses fell down. Qiulingji and Yu Junqi also stood on their flying swords and looked around. After confirming that none of the bandits had escaped, they gathered in the center. Six Feng and Li Suqing held down a fierce-looking bandit along with the woman who had been tied up by the illusion cloud rope. "Capture these 2 alive, a man and a woman." Qiulingji's voice was cold. "My flying feather army broke into Kulu Valley. Where are the treasures in the cave?" The fierce-looking bandit hurriedly shook his head. I don't know. We were chased here and don't know the situation at the branch altar." That female bandit was delicate and pitiful as she explained, "I'm not a bandit. I was forcefully captured by them into the bandit cave. I'm just a tool for them to play with day and night." Qiulingji instead focused on the female bandit. "Why are you in such a hurry? I didn't say you were a bandit." "I'm really not a bandit. He knows." The female bandit was so frightened that she was trembling. She is indeed not a bandit. She's a dancer." The male bandit also nodded. "Chi." A ray of sword light followed Qiulingji's finger, and with lightning speed, it cut open the male bandit's throat. Fresh blood flowed out. What a powerful woman! With such a surprise attack, even the surrounding people took a while to recover from their shock. A dancer that can survive in the bandit's lair. To be able to be so fearless in the face of danger and escape with a large group of bandits, would they still care about a dancer like you? Qiulingji's gaze suddenly fell on the female bandit's body, as if she wanted to see through her secret. I, Qiulingji, have cultivated for a long time. I have entered and exited this star-dual sand plains no less than 1,000 times. What kind of bandits have I not seen? Those two bandits from before had cultivations that surpassed the secret path realm. In Kulu Valley they could be considered big shot. Although they cannot compare to the altar master, they are not far off. Since you followed them, there must be something unusual about your body. I don't want to beat around the bush with you. I really am a dancer. The female bandit had an expression of being at a loss. Tears also rolled out, and Qiulingji's eyes were gradually replaced by killing intent. My lord, she is a woman. Previously, Qiulingji had killed a bandit without any warning. Now she would most likely kill this woman. Lian Zhan could not help but plead for the woman. After all, they were facing a woman. Qi. Who knew? Qiulingji attacked again. Her Xian Guang flashed, and with a Qi, the female bandit's entire left arm was cut off. Ah! The desert immediately reverberated with the female bandit's heartbroken cries of pain. This sound seemed to be able to affect the souls of others. Other than Qiulingji, the others could not bear to watch any longer. Their hearts trembled. Qiulingji grabbed a ray of sword Qi. I will ask again. If you speak now, you still have a chance. If you do not speak, then I will cut off your remaining 3 limbs for you. Pity your little face, it was born so enchanting. Even the male disciples beside me are attracted by the charm in your bones. I am not a man. I do not know how to be tender to the fairer sex. I only know how to take your life. You! The female bandit's entire body was covered in blood. Her face was pale, and her hair and sweat stuck to her face. Gritting her teeth, she showed despair. Fine, I will speak. I am not a bandit, but I am one of the envoys sent by Scarlet Swallow Mountain. Chapter 48. Crimson Swallow Mountain. Just as they realized that the female bandit was not simple, she said she came from Crimson Swallow Mountain. When these 3 words came out, it was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. Even Qiulingji and Yujunki frowned. Crimson Swallow Mountain, there lived a peerless expert, the Crimson Swallow Emperor. He was a famous peerless expert around Tianmen Province, and even around Zhao Country. He oversaw Crimson Swallow Mountain and was known as the Crimson Swallow Emperor. He had many experts under his command. Yujunki trembled and said excitedly, I didn't expect to catch such a big fish today. The female bandit's breasts were half exposed, but because she had lost her arm, her charm was gone. Qiulingji suddenly gave Yujunki a look. The latter sent 6 Feng, Lian Zhan, Li Suqing, and Su Fang away and let them collect the corpses of the bandit. Su Fang dragged the corpses and was less than 10 zhang away from the 3. Out of curiosity, he pricked up his ears and used his great perfection ability. Suddenly, he heard Qiulingji ask, Continue to give me information that is useful to Tianmen Province. Then, there will be a chance to reattach your arm. Just don't kill me. Although I am an envoy of Crimson Swallow Mountain, my cultivation is only at the secret path realm. I am not your opponent. The female bandit was even more frightened. Crimson Swallow Mountain sent a total of 10 male and female envoys to this star-dual sand plains. They came in contact with each bandit leader in this desert. I followed one of them into Boss Hong's lair and used my beauty to seduce him. I wanted to find out the whereabouts of the 7 Stars life-chasing sword from him. 7 Stars life-chasing sword. Su Fang's heart trembled. How did this matter have anything to do with the 7 Stars life-chasing sword? His thoughts immediately turned, and he recalled what happened before. Last time, when Altar Master Ling Feng escaped, Qiulingji and Qi Xinshui chased after him. Altar Master Ling Feng also valued the 7 Stars life-chasing sword very much and wanted to give it to Boss Hong. Could it be that this 7 stars life-chasing sword has some secret? Qiulingji asked again. How many 7 stars life-chasing swords did the Scarlet Swallow Grand Emperor obtain? I heard they only obtained 1, and the other 2 fell into the hands of several bandit leaders. This is because the Star Dual Sand Plains was once the royal capital of the Star Dual dynasty several thousand years ago. The female bandit revealed even more secrets. The Star Dual dynasty was destroyed several thousand years ago in the chaos of war between the kingdoms. Rumor has it that the entire dynasty's treasures are hidden within the royal capital, and the keys to open the treasury are the 3 7 stars life-chasing flying swords. Red Swallow Mountain does not want Tianmen province to obtain them, and they also want to strengthen their own foundation. Thus, they have always been secretly dispatching people to rope in each and every bandit leader of the Star Dual Sand Plains, searching for the other 2 7 stars life-chasing flying swords. Boss Hong is currently being pursued by our Tianmen province. Does he have the 7 stars life-chasing sword? He is among the bandit leaders, and his strength is the most powerful existence. He once served as the Alliance Master of the Star Dual Sand Plains. The 2 7 stars life-chasing swords are very likely in his hands. You're very honest. I'll reattach your hand for now. It's fine if you use normal force, but I'm not sure if you'll be able to condense your qi in the future. Hearing this, Su Fang understood why Yu Junqi wanted to send them away. As it turned out, the reason Qiulingji and the entire Flying Feather Army were stationed at the Star Dual Sand Plains was to search for the 3 7 stars life-chasing sword. The Tianmen province wanted to obtain the Star Dual dynasty's treasures. This was the Flying Feather Army, and even the Tianmen province's secret. Naturally, they would not allow too many unimportant people to know. In the Silver Moon team, only Yu Junqi could be considered Qiulingji's trusted aide. He was worthy of her trust, and his strength was formidable. The others were too weak. Even if they could be trusted, Qiulingji would not let them know such a secret. The corpses of the bandits were gathered together. Qiulingji took the corpses, as well as the magic weapons and flying swords they seized, one by one, into an empty bag. Soon after, she called for her mount, escorting the female spy from Red Swallow Mountain into the sky. After arriving at the Flying Sand Castle and counting their contributions, Qiulingji brought a few more people, continuing to escort the female spy back to Tianmen province like a meteor in the night. Tianmen province. As soon as they returned to the Flying Feather Army Hall, Tu Yi personally came out to welcome them, but the target was the female spy. At the same time, they also saw a few unfamiliar faces entering the hall with Qiulingji. Su Fang and the others dispersed on the spot, while Su Fang directly returned to the forest near his room, taking the opportunity to continue cultivating. Facing the 2 suns, he absorbed the essence of heaven and earth, refining the mysterious 9 yang true qi in his body. Other than the 9 yang true qi, his cultivation focused on the divine aperture and Fa Li. Divine aperture formed, Fa Li generated. After stepping into the secret path realm, Su Fang could not sense the divine aperture and Fa Li. This meant that his realm was not high enough, and his energy was not enough. Fa Li came from the body's nutrient. After being absorbed by the brain, it condensed into Fa Li in the divine aperture. The body's nutrients came from many aspects, such as energy, blood, spirit root, life force, and natural spiritual energy. Therefore, to sense the divine aperture and control Fa Li, he still needed to cultivate hard. Although I can't use Fa Li for now, it's much easier to condense Heart Sword Finger, Cloud Lion Roar, Dragon Snake Roll, and other spells than the Flesh Embryo realm. Their form, scale, and destructive power have reached a whole new level. He continued to cultivate. He knew in his heart that they would not leave Tianmen province in a short period of time. Because of the 7 stars life-chasing sword, Tianmen province wanted to get the treasures of the Duan Xing dynasty. They needed to pry more secrets about the Red Swallow Mountain and the Sand Bandits from the female spy. Good brother! A few days later, at noon, the voice of Crane Fairy Bai Ling suddenly came from the cliff in front of the forest. Su Fang came to the cliff and met Bai Ling under the dense forest. As soon as Bai Ling sensed Su Fang's aura, she spat out a ray of spiritual light, which contained 3 meridian unblocking pills. Bai Ling did not beat around the bush. Luo Muxue heard that the Flying Feather Army seemed to have received some big information. She asked me to come and ask you, brother, is this true? Yes, sister, it's hard to say. Once Luo Muxue knows about it, I might be in danger. Bai Ling was not an outsider. Su Fang looked awkward and conflicted. Since Luo Muxue asked me to come, she must know that you have some information. If you don't say it, she might kill you in the future to silence you. I don't think this matter can be hidden. She is the Heavenly Gate's saintess. Sooner or later, she will know about this. Rather than that, you might as well tell her directly. It's possible. Then, sister, you have to tell her how difficult it was for brother to come back and tell her about this big news. Of course, but you have to tell me about your experience in the Duan Xing Sandfield. Otherwise, I can't lie to her. Could it be that you want to get more benefits from her? If there are no benefits, who would work for her? I knew my brother was cunning and smart. You have changed too much in this year. When we met, you were a completely different person. The man and the beast immediately discussed quietly how to get benefits from Luo Muxue. A few days later, little brother, Bai Ling returned and she seemed very happy. She immediately spat out a spirit light at Su Fang. Inside was a flying sword, a jade strip, and 10 channel relaxation pills. My goodness, Luo Muxue is too rich. She is simply a landlady. If I don't rip this kind of person off, wouldn't it be too wasteful? This flying sword is called the Crystal Soul Sword. It is a spirit treasure that has reached the 10th layer of the Secret Path realm. It is enough for you to use. This jade strip records a magic called the Ultimate Phantom Sword Art. Bai Ling introduced. The Ultimate Phantom Sword Art is combined with the Crystal Soul Sword. It can allow the Crystal Soul Sword to surpass the Secret Path realm and reach the Dharma Insight realm. Dharma Insight realm. Another unfamiliar realm jumped into Su Fang's mind. Above the Secret Path realm is the Dharma Insight realm. Simply put, in the Secret Path realm, you can master 10 spells, but in the Dharma Insight realm, you can master 50 spells. Because the Dharma Insight realm mainly cultivates magic power, at that time, your divine aperture is already very clear. Magic power is constantly flowing in your brain, and you can control it at will. Sister Bai, what's your cultivation level? I'm still in the Dharma Insight realm. Spirit beasts cultivate 100 times slower than you humans. Unless there is a human powerhouse who cleanses my marrow or takes various heavenly treasures, my cultivation level will increase like a turtle. Dharma Insight realm. Crane Fairy Bai Ling was actually in the Dharma Insight realm. It really scared Su Fang. What's so surprising about this? Don't you see Luo Muxue's cultivation level? Otherwise, how can I become her mount? Bai Ling couldn't laugh at all. Then she will give me benefits for free like this. Hee, what a smart little brother. She wants you to secretly follow the 7 Stars life-chasing sword and the news of the Dual Star Dynasty. If you get more valuable information or a 7 Stars life-chasing sword, she will give you greater benefits. What benefits? Not a magic weapon, not a pill, but a magic art. In addition to the magic art, she will help you advance to the Dharma Insight realm. Don't you think this is a great benefit? It is a great benefit, but the 7 Stars life-chasing sword should also be extraordinary. It may be more valuable than the Dharma Insight realm. Do as you see fit. If you can get the 7 Stars life-chasing sword, you can keep it for yourself. Let's see which is more beneficial to you. I'm going back to report. After Bai Ling finished speaking, she flipped backward and suddenly jumped down the cliff. After falling for 100 meters, she soared into the sky again. She was a snow-white fairy from heaven. After putting away the Crystal Soul Sword and the Phantom Sword Ultimate Technique, he saw the Channel Relaxation Pill and immediately left the Inner Mountain Dojo, where the Flying Feather Army Hall was located. Purple Bamboo Peak. This was the core dojo of the Purple Bamboo Valley. It was the peak where the Flesh-Body Realm and Secret Path Realm disciples cultivated. Su Fong waited for a while before Su Yen and Su Dali rushed down from the mountain. They were very excited when they saw Su Fong. It seemed like they knew that Su Fong was going to bring them the Channel Relaxation Pill. Su Yen stared at Su Fong. "You defeated our Purple Bamboo Valley's genius, Zhao Haiqing, in the last competition. This news has spread. The two of us also entered the dojo to cultivate and broke through to the flesh-body realm. Not only us, but even Su Kong and Su Yueyun are in the flesh-body realm." He was slightly stunned and thought of the competition. Zhao Haiqing's strength is not bad, but unfortunately, he is still not my match. I am now in the Flying Feather Army and a Secret Path Realm expert. I have seen the teachings of your Purple Bamboo Valley before. My influence in the various dojos is constantly increasing. It will be of great help to your cultivation. Find time to give the pills to Su Yi and Su Xiaolong so that they can enter their respective core dojos faster. If the family could give birth to a genius in Tianmen Province, the impact on the entire family would be indescribable. Just like the Lu families Lu Lan and Lu Feng. Many of the Lu family's seedlings had indirectly benefited. Flying Feather Dojo. After Su Fong returned, he continued to cultivate. Right now I have the 7 Stars Life-Chasing Sword, the Brute Force Spiritual Bow, and the Crystal Soul Sword. These 3 treasures cannot be used in the Heavenly Gate Prefecture, especially when I am with Qiulingji and the others. Artifact. He was planning to have a different artifact. It must not be too eye-catching, but it must be very useful. Ultimate Phantom Sword Technique. I have to learn this technique well. This is a Sword Aura technique. Sword Aura is the most commonly used attack by cultivators. It is also the best attack. Activating the Jade Scroll, many sword-shaped words immediately flowed into Su Fong's brain. Ultimate Phantom Sword Technique. After mastering this technique, combined with the Crystal Soul Sword or the 7 Stars Life-Chasing Sword, his combat power would increase by at least 3 levels. Chapter 49. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Flying Feather Military Council Hall. I wonder why Mistress has summoned us. Li Suqing looked at Su Fong and then at Lian Zhan, looking confused. The 3 of them had been waiting outside the hall for a long time, but Qiulingji still had not appeared. They could not help but feel impatient. "Come in." A member of the Flying Feather Army came to the entrance of the hall. The 3 of them entered the Military Council Hall. This was their first time seeing what the inside of the Military Council Hall looked like. Besides the majestic hall, there were 3 array formation doors. It seemed like this Military Council Hall was a completely different world. Qiulingji suddenly appeared from the right door and nodded at the 3 of them. The 3 of them followed her into the right door. After passing through the array formation, their eyes lit up. A solemn hall seemed to have suddenly appeared in front of them. The 3 of them could not get used to it. Lian Zhan was considered old, but he had never been to the Military Council Hall. His expression was similar to Su Fong and Li Suqing's. Senior brother. 2 middle-aged men stood in the hall. One was Tu Yuyi, and the other was slightly younger. He was also not simple. He wore a black feather long robe with many black feathers. Tu Yuyi gestured for Qiulingji to sit at the side. He then looked at the young man with black feathers. Mistress, Su Fong, Li Suqing, and Lian Zhan are here. Tu Yuyi's status was higher than Qiulingji and Qi Xinshui. However, in front of this man with black feathers, who was about 30 years old, he was very respectful. Su Fong looked around curiously. Who is this person? I can't sense his aura at all. Tu Yuyi then looked at the three of them and introduced them solemnly. This is the leader of our Flying Feather Army, Yang Zhongju, Mistress Yang. Leader of the Flying Feather Army Su Fang, Lian Zhan, and Li Suqing were obviously shocked. They actually saw the leader of the Flying Feather Army. The man with black feathers, Yang Zhongju, spoke in a deep and magnetic voice. Your Silver Moon team has made a great contribution by capturing the spy from the Red Swallow Mountain. Junior brother too. Junior brother understands. Tuyuya walked up to the three of them and waved his hand. The three tokens immediately fell into his palm, and a black feather appeared on it. He then grabbed 3 sets of armor, the black feather armor. All members of the Silver Moon team have made great contributions. They will be bestowed with the black feather armor, as well as the military merit battle tattoo. He then handed the black feather armor and the badge back to the three of them. The three of them looked at the black feather battle armor and saw a feather on it. It was exactly the same as the 4 feathers on Tu Yu's night battle armor. This represented the number of times a person had made great contributions. The more contributions they made, the more battle runes they would have. Tuyuya already had 4 battle runes, which showed how ferocious and warlike she used to be. At this moment, Lian Zhan, Su Fang, and Li Suqing all smiled in surprise. They put on the black feather armor first. This was a magic treasure, and they felt completely different. From now on, they were officially part of the Flying Feather Army. This time, besides giving you the rewards you deserve, I also have a secret mission for the three of you. Tuyuya walked towards Qiulingji and asked Su Fang and the other 2 to follow him. Qiulingji continued, during this period of time, we have been interrogating the female bandits and obtained a lot of useful information. We, the Flying Feather Army, are preparing to attack the bandit leader, Boss Hong. However, before that, we have to figure out the situation inside the nest, such as the traps, mechanisms, and the entrance of the fortress. Therefore, the higher-ups have decided to find a few unfamiliar faces to infiltrate the bandit nest and obtain information. In the end, they have decided to let the three of you complete this difficult but honorable mission. Infiltrating the bandit nest. They thought it was a good thing. After all, they suddenly received a reward, but they received a mission that was almost a suicide mission. Infiltrating the bandit nest meant that they were spies. If they were discovered by the bandits, there would be no survivors. Therefore, this infiltration mission was equivalent to a suicide mission. Tuyuya continued, the three of you have just joined the Flying Feather Army, so the bandits cannot know your identities. Moreover, we have obtained various secret codes and contact information from the female spy. As long as you know these, you will not be in danger in the bandit nest. The higher-ups think highly of you and think you can complete the mission. Yes. Lian Zhan was the first to nod. Su Fang and Li Suqing hesitated for a moment, but they finally bowed and agreed. Could they not agree? Of course not. The arrow was already on the bow. If the three of them were not willing, they would not be able to establish themselves in the Flying Feather Army. This was equivalent to a death order. The three of them were not allowed to say no. Junior Sister Chiu, I will leave the rest to you. You have to teach them everything in a short time. Tuyuya looked at Qiulingji seriously. Qiulingji immediately brought the three of them out of the array formation hall. Before she left, she even bowed to Yang Zhongju. Now, I will use my primordial spirit to transmit the information I obtained from the bandits to you. Do not miss any word, any gesture, any secret code. Back at the imperial residence, Qiulingji gathered the three of them in the main hall. After she finished speaking, she immediately released her mystical abilities and moved her lips silently. Su Fang and the other two's expressions became more and more surprised. In the remaining time, Qiulingji let the three of them meditate. This meditation lasted for 3 days. 3 days later, Qiulingji tested the three of them. She made a hand gesture and said a secret phrase, and the three of them were able to reply fluently or follow the hand gesture. Qiulingji suddenly lowered her voice. "We will set off tomorrow. We will send you to the vicinity of the bandit's nest, and when you obtain the information, you will immediately think of a way to leave the nest. Use your hand seals in time, and we will meet up with you immediately. This mission is to obtain information and also to find the nest's treasure trove. You also have to pay attention to which bandit leaders are close to Boss Hong. Don't let go of any clues. Once we exterminate the bandit's nest, you will have achieved another great merit and will also enter the Flying Feather Army's machine hall to serve. In the future, you will not have to constantly come out to take risks and carry out various missions. You will be responsible for the internal affairs of the Flying Feather Army." Internal work. Doesn't that mean there will be many opportunities for me to get in touch with the internal department? My chance has come. As long as I complete this mission, I will be able to find my father's whereabouts as quickly as possible. Lian Zhan and Li Suqing couldn't bring themselves to be happy. How could they be happy about a suicide mission? However, Su Fang was looking forward to this mission. This was because this was the best opportunity for him to enter the upper echelons of the Flying Feather Army. Star Dual Sand Plains. The sky rolled over with a violent sandstorm. Qiulingji brought Lianzhan, Su Fang, and Li Suqing directly across the flying sand castle and into the middle of the desert. Along the way, she set down the three people at intervals. Qiulingji also rode her single-horned colt and disappeared. In the sandstorm that filled the sky, only Su Fang's insignificant voice could be heard. It was as if the layer of sand that was raised, as well as the violent wind, could instantly swallow him up and leave him forever in this desert. At this time, Su Fang was dressed as a bandit. In order to make himself look even more like a bandit, he began to bask in the sun. He used both his hands to grab sand, rubbing it on his shoulders, neck, calves, and even his face. After a long time, his whole body had large amounts of scars left behind by the sandstorm. His skin was not only dark, but also rough. He felt as if he had suddenly become a middle-aged man. Before he came, he had hidden the empty bag well. When he arrived near the bandit's lair, he would hide the empty bag somewhere else. When he arrived at the bandit's lair, he would definitely be searched. He could not find anything related to the Sky Gate Prefecture, otherwise, even 100 lives would not be enough to save him. Kacha, the flying sand hit his whole body. In the violent wind, he advanced in reverse. The wind and sand hit his face and palms. Even with his clothes covering, he still felt bursts of pain. The skeleton sand sea that Boss Hong is sitting on, the nest should be just ahead. Slowing down, he looked around. When he came to a stone mountain that was still standing in the yellow sand, he took off the immortal thorn armor and sucked it into the empty bag. Finally, he hid the empty bag in the insole layer. The desert below his feet suddenly formed a whirlpool state. Shadua monsters. Su Fang hastily jumped up. As expected, he saw tentacles extend from the center of the whirlpool. Shadua monsters, in this star dual sand field, were existences more terrifying than poisonous scorpions. In the case a Shadua monster dragged him into the desert, let alone a secret path realm, even a magic whole realm expert could only die. He hurriedly ran towards the skeleton sand sea and the yellow sand whirlpool that continuously appeared behind him, as if it had grown eyes, fiercely chasing after him. It seemed that the Shadua monsters also had a special ability to sense life energy or smell. Xiao, after fleeing for a while, he was unable to distinguish between north and south. Suddenly, a highly toxic arrow shot over, eerily falling in front of Su Fang. Pretending to be shocked, he looked ahead. A dozen or so yellow-clothed bandits, feeling as if they had been hiding in the yellow sand all this time, each one holding a large bow, condensing a highly toxic magic arrow, as if they wanted to instantly kill Su Fang. The Shadua monsters were getting closer and closer, and Su Fong quickly made several hand gestures. One of them responded with a hand gesture, letting him go first. He hastily ran over, and 100 meters away, he met with a dozen or so bandits. But as soon as he saw them, a scimitar was pressed against his neck, practically about to slit his throat, and the grim reaper was waving at him. A burly bandit with a scar on his lower jaw and thunder god eyes grabbed Su Fong's neck. "You are from Kulu Valley, impossible. Not a single person from Kulu Valley survived. Where did you come from, Tianmen Province's Red Swallow Mountain?" "I'm not a spy, I'm not a spy." Su Fong was so scared he practically pissed his pants. "What's the meaning of this?" The bandit repeatedly made several hand gestures. Su Fong trembled as he replied, "There's a ghost 3 kilometers to the east. There's meat to eat today. This is an order from the top, indicating that there's an operation today. Your token is missing. This is to remind me that the other party is an enemy, not a friend when there's an enemy." "Good, it seems that you are indeed a brother who escaped from Kulu Valley, but we need to go back and verify further. You two take him back first." The yellow-clothed bandit tested some code words and hand gestures, and in the end, Su Fong could answer all of them. Then, he had someone escort Su Fong to the depths of the desert. Skeleton Sand Sea. After waiting for half an hour, Su Fong finally learned the origin of this name. At this time, Su Fong came to the ruins of a desert that seemed to only have bare remnants of the city walls. But as yellow sand whirlpools gushed out from the surroundings, and desert monsters appeared, suddenly a large number of the ruins of the city walls in front of him began to move slowly. Su Fong saw the whirlpool controlled by the Shadua monsters approaching, and hurriedly retreated. The person next to him patted his shoulder. "Don't worry, these shadow monsters were caught by us as tools to control the entrance." 222 After the city walls moved strangely, a skeleton-shaped entrance to the underground palace appeared. Looking at the surrounding city walls, it seemed to have become a huge human skull that faced the sky. "Let's go." The two of them escorted Su Fong into the skeleton underground palace. There were torches and gems on both sides, so the view was very wide. When they came down, they saw a few bandits guarding the entrance. The number of tunnels in the underground palace also increased, and it was very complicated. There were also more and more bandits. From time to time, they could see charming, round, and graceful beauties coming and going in the tunnels. Chapter 50. These beautiful women were hot, and their figures were hot. As they walked around, they attracted the attention of the bandit. "Turn right at the 8th intersection. Go forward for another 30 feet, then turn left." Su Fong, who was being escorted by 2 bandits, was secretly memorizing every fork in the road from the entrance to the secret passage. These secret passages seemed to have been built for a long time. It seemed that the bandits had continued to dig more complicated secret passages under the ruins of the ancient city. Why is this person unfamiliar? It seemed that they had finally reached the end of the secret passage. This was a large secret room that looked like a secret prison. There were all kinds of torture instruments hanging in the secret room. 2 burly men looked at Su Fong happily and couldn't help but rub their palms together. The 2 men brought Su Fong to the bottom of the metal frame and chained Su Fong up. One of them said, "We just caught him nearby. He claimed to be from Kulu Valley." One of the burly men grabbed a sickle-like torture instrument and walked over step by step. "You spy. Our brothers in Kulu Valley are all dead. Even the altar master lost his head. You're only at the first level of the secret passage. How could you escape from the Flying Feather Army?" Su Fong quickly shook his head and explained, "No, I clearly saw a few other brothers escape. I just don't know if the Flying Feather Army caught up with them." The burly man stopped in his tracks. His 2 big eyes moved up and down. "Is that so?" Su Fong nodded. Yes. It's definitely not possible that I'm the only one who escaped alive. Bring him up." The other burly man knocked on the wall. Let's go. Suddenly, the wall moved to both sides. A few bandits were dragging chains behind them, and behind them were 3 bloody people. Su Fong was surprised and happy. He secretly stared at 2 of them. Lian Zhan, Li Suqing. It turned out that the second and third bloody people were Lian Zhan and Li Suqing. The one in front was an unfamiliar face. The burly man stomped his feet and shouted, "The 4 of you escaped from Kulu Valley. Since you're all in Kulu Valley, you must know each other. Quick, see if you know each other." Su Fong immediately pointed at Lian Zhan. He's a little familiar. I've seen him too. When the Flying Feather Army killed their way into Kulu Valley, he escaped before them. Li Suqing pointed at Su Fong, trembling. In the blink of an eye, Su Fong, Li Suqing, and Lian Zhan gave the same explanation. The ferocious eyes of the bandits immediately glared at the first bloody man. Maybe they're our brothers. Maybe they're our brothers who just came in. Maybe they're brothers who were patrolling in other secret passages. I would rather kill the wrong person than let one person go, you spy. The burly man with the torture instrument suddenly hit the bloody man's neck. With a slight pull, the bloody man's throat was pulled out and cut off. The bloody person struggled to say something, but he couldn't say anything else. Lian Zhan, Li Suqing, and Su Fong seemed to have discussed this. They were so scared that their legs trembled and their teeth chattered. Spare us! Spare us! We don't want to die. The burly man licked the blood. Although the higher-ups asked us to kill suspicious people, they didn't ask us to kill our brothers. Besides, you've already been tested. You're our brothers now. Let them go and take a good rest. We don't have to die. The 3 of them still couldn't believe it. They looked at each other, still in shock. It was only when they were unchained and left the secret chamber that peace gradually returned. In the secret passage, the 3 of them looked at each other from time to time, especially Lian Zhan and Li Suqing. They arrived at the skeleton sand sea first, so they were also tortured by the bandit. Fortunately, Su Fong came in time. The 3 of them colluded and killed the real bandit. That was how they survived. This mission was too dangerous. The 3 of them almost met the Grim Reaper as soon as they entered the nest. The 3 of them were taken to an underground palace. There were stone beds, fruits, and food. There were all kinds of bows and arrows everywhere, as well as poisonous things to feed the scorpions. When there was no one around, Lian Zhan and Li Suqing applied some ointment. Lian Zhan said in a low voice, "Next, we'll act secretly. First, we'll draw the secret passage of the nest. Then, we'll ask about the whereabouts of the treasure house. If we can't find it, we'll take the map out first. Let's act separately." Li Suqing and Su Fong nodded. Su Fong said, "I've memorized all the secret passages from the entrance to the punishment chamber." Lian Zhan was stunned. He didn't expect Su Fong's memory to be so good, especially under the threat of the bandits. "Then we'll use these secret passages as the main line and go deeper step by step." After resting for a while, the 3 of them began to look for food. They acted and talked like the bandit. They picked up food and ate it, then threw it away after eating half of it. The next day, Su Fong was called out by the bandit. It turned out that they wanted to assign him a task. He was responsible for patrolling a secret passage. It just so happened to provide Su Fong with the conditions. He began to draw a map of the nest in his mind based on the secret passages he had memorized. Although there was only one main line for the time being, there would be more and more connections in the future. Su Fong quietly recorded the secret passages every day. He even confirmed a few times that there were no mistakes. Then, he met up with Lian Zhan and Li Suqing. The 3 of them combined the maps they had drawn together. Half a month passed. Today there's a ball at the Hall of Brotherhood. Those who are on duty should be on duty. Those who are free should go to the Hall of Brotherhood. Su Fong was patrolling the secret passage with a bow and arrow in his hand. At this time, A few bandits walked over and announced to the crowd that there would be a party tonight. This was the first time Su Fang had encountered a bandit gathering since he came to the nest. He had to go and take a look. The key was to determine how many bandits there were in the nest. At dusk, Su Fang rushed to the Hall of Brotherhood. The Hall of Brotherhood was very spacious. It seemed to be an underground palace that had been remodeled by the bandit. In addition, there were various gems embedded in the walls, making the Hall of Brotherhood look luxurious. It was completely unimaginable that there would be such a luxurious underground palace under the abandoned ancient city. After waiting for a while, Lien Zhan also arrived. There were more and more bandits, about 200 of them. A few powerful bandit leaders appeared in front of them. Their cultivation had reached the secret path realm. The other bandits were between the flesh-body realm and the secret path realm. One of them shouted, "Bring the hot stuff first!" Suddenly, beautiful women with half-exposed breasts appeared. They carried large bowls filled with fresh blood. The bandit leader raised his arm and shouted, "We caught a few spies from Tianmen province the day before yesterday. They killed many of our brothers in Tianmen province over the past few days and took our brothers' corpses as military achievements. We must drink their blood and eat their flesh. Everyone, don't be shy. Cheers." Human blood or the blood of Tianmen province disciples? Su Fang's right hand trembled slightly, and he almost tipped the bowl over. If he really did, his head would be gone. He had no choice but to shout and muster his courage to drink half of the bowl of blood with Lien Zhan. At this time, the dancers brought over plates of meat. They were slices of meat that had been lightly drenched in oil and still had traces of blood. Some of them even had ear slices. He still mustered his courage and grabbed the meat slices in big bites and wolfed them down. As he ate, he shouted along with the bandit leader, saying that he would kill every disciple in Tianmen province. Su Fang paid close attention to the Hall of Brotherhood. There were passages in all directions. If they were not familiar with the terrain, the Flying Feather Army would charge in and the bandits would disappear without a trace. Your mission for the next few days is to clean up this ancient underground palace. The next day, a group of bandits gathered in a partially collapsed underground palace. Su Fang was among them. "Clean up this underground palace. We will build a secret passage here. I will give you 1 month's time." A bandit with a high cultivation level and a curly beard glared at the group. The bandits quickly moved the large pieces of rubble away. After the guards left, the group began to slack off. Su Fang had been paying attention to a few unfamiliar secret passages during this time and did not explore them for the time being. He worked carefully and looked around whenever he had time. The bandits were actually very disciplined. Someone was in charge of every secret passage. Ordinary bandits could not pass through. After a few days of work, 1/3 of the underground palace had been cleared. Some gold, silver, and jewels were buried under the rubble. There were also many ancient books. Someone shouted, "Quickly move these broken books away. There seems to be a map on the ground. Be careful not to damage it." Divine Map of Kingdoms. Su Fang was cleaning up the broken books on the ground when he inadvertently saw a carved map on the ground. It was called the Divine Map of Kingdoms. Although it was called a divine map, it was actually carved on the wall. A guard saw many people and was curious about the Divine Map of Kingdoms. He walked up and said, "It seems that this was once a city of the Star Dual dynasty." The Divine Map of Kingdoms can also be seen in the Kulu Valley's branch altars. Look, there is the Black Earth Mountain Range and the Star Dual Sand Plains. Following this person's finger, they saw the Black Earth Mountain Range and the Star Dual Sand Plains. In the Divine Map of Kingdoms, these two territories were very insignificant. There is no Purple Cloud Mountain or Heaven Sect City. Su Fang found that the map did not have anything he was familiar with. However, he could still find the general location. In the general location of Heaven Sect City, there was only a name. It was not a name, but a dynasty. Purple Fortune Kingdom. There is no purple fortune kingdom around Heaven Sect City. There is only Purple Cloud Mountain. Su Fang was very curious. He memorized the divine map of kingdoms. Taking advantage of his rest time, he flipped through a large pile of books. There were also other bandits who were interested in the Star Duel dynasty. When they were free, they discussed all aspects recorded in the ancient books. Star Duel Heaven Complete Records. Inadvertently picking up an ancient book, when he opened it, Su Fang was immediately attracted to everything recorded within. This was because this book recorded the establishment of the Star Duel Sand Plains, and it also recorded the other territories besides the Star Duel Sand Plains. He deliberately searched for the Purple Fortune Kingdom, and as expected, he found records regarding the Purple Fortune Kingdom. Comparing it with the divine map of kingdoms, Su Fang found that Heaven Sect City was indeed in the former Purple Fortune Kingdom. The Purple Fortune Kingdom was established by the Purple Fortune Kingdom's king, Su Yunxian. It has already been 300 years since his founding, and his family Su soon became one of the most powerful families in the world. After reading everything about the Purple Fortune Kingdom, he discovered that the Purple Fortune Kingdom's owner was a powerful family. It just so happened that they had the same surname, Family Su. The Purple Fortune Kingdom's king, Su Yunxian, used his formidable strength to establish an empire in the vast world where Heaven Sect City was located. However, the Purple Fortune Kingdom's records only existed for 500 years. 500 years later, the world was set off by the War of Kingdoms, and the Star Duel dynasty was also involved in this war. Afterwards, this Star Duel Heaven Complete record was no longer recorded. It could be seen that the recorder wanted to continue recording, but in the end, his wish was not fulfilled. War of Kingdoms. No wonder magic weapon fragments appeared one after another at Purple Cloud Mountain. So it turns out that there was a war there. The Purple Fortune Kingdom has long since disappeared. It must have been destroyed by Su Yunxian in the war. Could it be that my family Su is related to the Purple Fortune Kingdom? It is impossible for us to have the same surname so coincidentally. I once heard grandfather say that the family Su was established a long time ago. Not long after Heaven Sect City was established, they moved into the city from other places. No one can clearly say where my family Su came from. It is extremely likely that they are the surviving descendants of the Purple Fortune Kingdom's family Su. Su Fang's heart suddenly brightened. He suddenly felt that his family Su was not simple. Chapter 51. There were no more detailed records of the Violet Fortune Kingdom, so he searched for the Zhao Kingdom. The Zhao Kingdom was located in Tianmen Province, a kingdom of cultivators. So the Zhao Kingdom was established around the same time as the Violet Fortune Kingdom. They were both small kingdoms. Zhao Wuji, the founding emperor of the Zhao Kingdom, created the Zhao Kingdom. There were many records of countries in the ancient books. There were about 30 large and small empires and dynasties, but when he compared them to today's maps, he could not find any trace of these countries. The Star Duel Empire was a thing of the past. The Violet Fortune Kingdom had also disappeared from the map. The former territories of these two empires had become Tianmen Province. No, they had become part of the Zhao Kingdom. During the war between the kingdoms, it was very likely that the Zhao Kingdom was the strongest. In the end, it conquered all the other empires and created the Zhao Kingdom. Even the Tianmen Province was controlled by the Zhao Kingdom. According to my analysis, Family Su was once related to the Violet Fortune Kingdom. It was the Zhao Kingdom that destroyed my family Su Kingdom, turning everything into dust. After connecting all the dots, Su Fang was almost certain that the current family Su and the Violet Fortune Kingdom of the past had some relationship. If this was true, then the Zhao Kingdom had severely damaged the family Su and countless other kingdoms. In the end, the Zhao Kingdom was the only one left on the new map. What kind of world is the Zhao Kingdom? He continued to ponder and flipped through the other ancient books. Su Fang was like this every day. He was full of curiosity towards the history of the Star Dual Sands. All for the Star Dual Empire's treasures. Because he had the 7-star life-seeking sword, if he could obtain the Star Dual Empire's treasures, then the family Su could establish an empire in Tianzong City and recreate the glorious era of the Violet Fortune Kingdom. He had not thought of this before. Even if he was a disciple of Tianmen Province, he had cultivated in Tianmen Province for more than 2 years. Although he did not truly understand the strength of the Tianmen Province, he deeply felt the exploitation of outsiders and their own people by Tianmen Province. As a disciple, he was not willing to be a slave. Also, the family behind him could not always be at the mercy of Tianmen Province. Even the Lu family could ride on their heads. At least I want my family to live freely in a territory. I think grandfather, father, and uncle's wishes are the same. Time quickly passed. Su Fang had read all the ancient books, and he had a true understanding of the Star Dual Sands. The Star Dual dynasty was founded by a character named Xue Ping, who established a dynasty in this Star Dual Sand Plains. The former desert was not this vast. Xue Ping wanted to use the desert as a natural barrier to establish a world that stood aloof from worldly affairs. After spending several decades, she finally built a dynasty. In the middle of the Star Dual sandy plains, there were more than a dozen cities and even more towns, but following the wars between countries, everything became ruins. Then, under the expansion of the desert, they were finally swallowed up. Last time I was dragged into the underground palace by the Shadow monsters. I'm afraid it was also built by the Star Dual dynasty. It seems that finding the Star Dual Empire's hidden treasure will not be easy. Both Red Swallow Mountain and Tianmen Province want to seize this hidden treasure, but they did not expect that of the 3 flying swords. One of them is in my hands. I will not watch as the treasure is divided among others. If any of them is strong, it will be disadvantageous to my family Su. Returning to the underground palace to rest, Su Fang suddenly made up his mind. Since he had the 7-star life-chasing sword, he had to think of a way to seize the treasure. In these 2 months we have explored most of the secret passages, but we have no way of contacting the upper echelons of the bandit. We have not even seen boss Hong Yuetian's shadow. Hong Yuetian is exceptionally cunning. There are 2 forbidden areas that we cannot enter. He and the bandits' leader should be in these 2 forbidden areas, and the bandits' treasure is most likely in these 2 areas. Since it is impossible for us to come into contact with Hong Yuetian or even the bandits' leader with our identities, then we will not have a chance to do so in a short period of time. I think it is time to leave the Skeleton Sand Sea and meet up with the Lord. What do the 2 of you think? At a fork in the road, Lian Zhan, Li Suqing, and Su Fang had their backs against the wall and were meeting up on time. Lian Zhan nodded and said in a low and hoarse voice, "The longer we stay, the more danger we will be in. Moreover, we will not be able to obtain any useful information. Let's go. The sooner we leave, the better." Su Fang also agreed. There is a collapsed secret passage that is being built. We can take the initiative to help and quickly open it. Once it is opened, we will take the opportunity to leave. In the end, Li Suqing had no objections and disappeared into the depths of the secret passage. The next day, the 3 of them came to a busy secret passage. There were dozens of bandits who were busy digging and moving gravel. It was the time when they needed manpower the most. After the 3 of them joined, they began to work hard. This secret passage seemed to be another secret passage for the bandits to escape. The 3 of them also remembered the direction clearly. There are 2 stronger bandits guarding the exit. We will use a diversion tactic to lure them away. After working for a few days, the secret passage was finally opened. It was a full kilometer long. Under the dim light, it was hard to tell if it was day or night. Being in the underground world, it seemed like it was night every day. The three shadows carefully approached the exit of the secret passage. Finally, they saw some traces of sunlight coming in through a door. That was the exit to leave the bandits' lair. Two bandits who had reached a higher realm in the secret passage realm were guarding the two sides of the exit. They leaned against the wall listlessly. It seemed like this job was hard work for them. Ding dong! There were a few secret passages on both sides that were connected to the exit. Suddenly, there was a slight sound of collision. Who is it? This is a forbidden area. Who dares to come close? The commotion was very obvious, causing the two bandits to suddenly reveal nervous expressions. They blinked at each other as if they didn't want to move. However, they still came to a few secret passages and slowly patrolled them. Seizing the opportunity, Lian Zhan brought Li Suqing and Su Fang and quickly passed through the fork. With a push of his shoulder, the oval stone slab in the shape of a door slowly opened, revealing a 1-foot wide gap. The three of them flashed out one by one and closed the door again. It has been a long time since we saw the sun. The three of them sprinted across the desert and marked the exit of the secret passage. The feeling of seeing the sun again was wonderful. The three of them felt as if they were living again after a lifetime. They then struck out a hand seal. About 5 minutes later, they were already some distance away from the skeleton sand sea. Suddenly, two figures appeared in front of them. They stepped on flying swords and flew over. My lords! The three of them stopped to catch their breath. When they saw Qiu Lingji and Qi Xinshui on the flying swords, they finally heaved a sigh of relief. Be careful! Qiu Lingji and Qi Xinshui struck out a Xian Guang at the same time, grabbing the three of them onto their sword auras. The flying swords buzzed, and the five of them immediately flashed into the air. Flying Sand Castle, the three of you have done a great service. With such a detailed map of the nest, my Flying Feather Army has an 80% chance of destroying the nest. In the hall, there were more than 10 Flying Feather Army martial experts guarding the two sides. Qi Xinshui and Qiu Lingji were studying the map and were praising Lian Zhan, Su Fang, and Li Suqing, who were standing in the center. Qiu Lingji kept the map. Senior brother, you stay here and arrange the troops. Junior sister, bring Lian Zhan and Su Fang back to Tianmen province. This matter cannot be delayed for more than 3 days. Otherwise, the bandits will definitely sense it. Li Suqing will follow me and tell all the brothers the details of the nest. Qi Xinshui nodded. Lian Zhan and Su Fang followed Qiu Lingji and left the hall. Qiu Lingji summoned her flying sword and carried the two of them out of the flying sand castle, rushing back to Tianmen province. Tianmen province has sent the Flying Feather Army to guard the flying sand castle. It is very likely that the Flying Feather Army has found the 3 7-star life-chasing swords. With the map of the bandit nest, Tianmen province will definitely take the opportunity to uproot the bandits. On the flying sword, under the control of Qiu Lingji's magic power, Su Fang did not have to worry about falling. At this speed, they would probably be able to rush back to Tianmen province in less than half a day. As expected, in the middle of the night, after passing through thousands of rivers and mountains, they finally saw Tianmen province shrouded in colorful light. Flying Feather Dojo, Military Strategy Palace. Soon as Tu Yue and a few of the higher-ups heard that Qiu Lingji had brought the two of them back, they rushed over in the middle of the night. In the main hall, they compared the map while listening to Lian Zhan and Su Fang talk about the inside of the nest. At this time, Lian Zhan bowed to Su Fang guiltily. "My lord, we did not do a good job. After infiltrating for a long time, we were still unable to see the bandit leader Hong Yuetian, as well as the experts among the bandits." Tu Yue waved her hand. "Hong Yuetian has dominated the Star Dual Sand Plains for hundreds of years. His mind is very cunning. How could he let you see him? It seems that these 2 forbidden areas are where Hong Yuetian is hiding." From the map, the secret passages under the skeleton sand sea are indeed scattered all over the place. They are connected everywhere, and we can advance or retreat anywhere. We can only use the secret passages to launch a surprise attack. However, we do not have enough manpower. There are hundreds of bandits, and our flying feather army can only send out 70 to 80 people. The two of you go and rest first. We will go and ask the leader to come up with a plan for this matter. Only then can we finally take action against Hong Yuetian. There is no time to lose. Let's go. A few of the higher-ups and Qiu Lingji hurriedly left the main hall, flying deeper into the mountains. Lian Zhan and Su Fang finally had time to rest after settling this matter. Su Fang returned to the forest. At this time, the sky was already bright. He took a channel activation pill and immediately sat cross-legged to cultivate. He did not have the chance to cultivate for 2 months, and his cultivation was still stuck at the first layer of the secret passage. Little brother. In the afternoon, a spirit wind swept through the forest. Su Fang heard the commotion and came out to take a look. He saw Fairy He Bai Ling jumping down, her slender claws firmly grabbing onto a rock. She could not wait and said, "Luo Mushue participated in the higher-ups meeting that just ended. Your flying feather army is about to make a big move. They said that they want to eliminate the bandit leader Hong Yuetian. She asked me to come and ask you if you have any other clues. Hong Yuetian is famous for being cunning. He does not allow ordinary bandits to get close to him. We only found most of the secret passages in the lair. We know nothing about Hong Yuetian. Draw a new copy of the map. Luo Mushue wants it urgently. Luo Mushue wants the map of the bandits' lair." Although he did not know why she wanted the map secretly, Su Fang still drew a new copy of the map and gave it to Bai Ling. Bai Ling hurriedly flew away. It seemed that Luo Mushue was not just concerned about the bandit. The Heavenly Gate Saintess also does not know how powerful Luo Mushue is in Tianmen province. Su Fang returned to the forest and continued to conserve energy. 1 day later, Military Strategy Hall. Su Fang put on the black feather armor again. He finally had the aura of a secret passage cultivator. Yes, this is an expert from the Jade Heron tribe. To send reinforcements to the Flying Sand Castle, Su Fang came to the Military Strategy Hall early in the morning. However, he saw an expert who did not belong to the Flying Feather Army. Jade Heron tribe, Jade Heron army. That is, when he met up with Lian Zhan and the others, he suddenly saw that many people were looking at one person. When Su Fang saw that person's side profile, his breathing stopped abruptly. Lu Lan. You are also from Tianzong City. You must know Lu Lan. Lian Zhan saw that Su Fang was so shocked and surprised. She is a genius from Jade Heron Training Hall. I heard that she stepped into the secret passage realm much earlier than you. Furthermore, in Tianmen province, there are not many beauties who can compare to her. This girl is a natural beauty who can make men fall for her. Chapter 52. Lu Lan. He naturally understood more than Lian Zhan as he shifted his attention away from Lu Lan. Why did the Jade Heron army come to my Flying Feather Dao ground? This time, the Flying Feather army alone will not be able to deal with Hong Yuetian and the large number of bandit. The Jade Egret army will definitely participate. This time, Hong Yuetian's life is coming to an end. I heard that even the leader will personally take action. Leader Yang Zhongju. That's right. The Supreme Leader's strength has reached a level that we cannot even imagine. That's why the Flying Feather Army has officially mobilized all its forces this time. Some of the formidable martial artists guarding the other strongholds have also rushed back. This shows the importance Tianmen province places on the Star Duel's treasury. Su Fang began to remain silent, standing in the crowd without attracting any attention. On the other hand, Lu Lan, who was the center of attention, was emitting a charming halo. 2 hours later, a large number of experts summoned their flying swords. The Flying Feather Army and the Jade Heron Army stood on their flying swords in 2s and 3s as they left with Qiulingji and the other higher-up. Half a day later, at the Flying Sand Castle. It had been more than 2.5 days since Su Fang, 3 people returned from hiding. The leader is still one step ahead of us. At the Flying Sand Castle, dozens of people landed on their flying swords. Dozens of members of the Flying Feather Army had already gathered here. Qi Xinshui and a few other experts were busy dividing the map with the Jade Heron Army. The leader of the Flying Feather Army, Yang Zhongjue, seemed to have been in the Flying Sand Castle for a long time. He stood at the front, waiting for everyone to arrive. In just a short while, more than 150 powerful ones had gathered in the square. Most of them were from the Flying Feather Army, with 1/3 of them being from the Jade Heron Army. Every one of them was at the Secret Path Realm, and some of them were probably at the Dharma Cave Realm. According to the plan, once the signal is given, all the small teams will launch a surprise attack on the nest. Everyone, be careful. Our enemy this time is not an ordinary bandit leader, but Hong Yuetian. His cultivation is unfathomable. If you encounter him, don't fight him head-on. I will personally take care of him. Yes. Yang Zhongjue let out a thunderous roar. More than 150 people split into more than 10 small groups. They were led by experts like Qiulingji and Qi Xinshui respectively. They rode on their flying swords and flew out of the Flying Sand Castle. It was a magnificent sight. Under the leadership of Yu Junqi and Qiulingji, the members of the Silver Moon team held their breaths, waiting for the arrival of a bloody battle. Our team will use individual soldiers and formations to kill the bandit. The conditions are acceptable. Try to use the Mount Tai Noble Spirit formation as the main force. The bandits are very cunning and good at using poison. Everyone must take the detoxification pill in time. The deeper they went into the desert, the more nervous they became. Qiulingji and Yu Junqi gave each of them a red pill. This pill was called the poison-dissolving pill. It could dissolve or suppress most poisons. Seeing that they were about to reach the Skeleton Sand Sea, the 100 or so people split into a dozen or so small groups and began to spread out. They flew higher and higher, forming an encirclement. The yellow sand on the ground made it impossible to see what was happening in the sky with the naked eye. Let's wait for orders at the entrance of this secret passage. Finally, she arrived in the air above the abandoned ancient city ruins. Qiulingji checked with the map and then locked onto a stone house that was about to collapse. She stood on her flying sword and maintained a height of several hundred feet in the air as she waited. After an hour, the sky gradually darkened, and cold air swept through the air. The tokens tied to their waists buzzed at the same time. Swish! Swish! 2 flying swords instantly carried them down to the bottom of the ancient city. In 3 breaths' time, the 6 of them jumped off the flying swords. Yu Junqi was the first to use his palm to hit the wall of the small house. Creak! The wall moved to the right, and a dark passage appeared in front of them. The 6 of them immediately nodded, and Qiulingji and Yu Junqi entered side by side. Swish! Just as he entered the depth of one zhang, several poisonous arrows suddenly shot towards him. The bandits are already prepared. Be careful! Qiulingji was indeed an expert. She immediately noticed the poisonous arrows and sent out a palm strike. With a few popping sounds, a few bandits fell from the bend in front of them. They were killed by Qiulingji's strength. Everyone took out their weapons and rushed forward. Seeing the shadows of the bandits moving in front of them, Yu Junqi raised his hand and slapped his empty bag. With a sound, his flying sword pierced into the crossroads in front of them. Chi! Chi! In an instant, blood splattered everywhere as sword chi swept out. This was the power of the flying sword. When there was no more movement, the few of them came to the crossroads to take a look. 7 bandits were lying on the ground with fresh blood still flowing out. At this moment, 2 secret passages appeared in front of them. Qiulingji decisively ordered, "Junior brother Yu, bring Six Feng and Su Feng to the secret passage on the left. I will bring Lianzhan and Li Suqing to the secret passage on the right. If we encounter a Dharma opening realm expert, retreat first. Let's go. Yu Junqi brought Six Feng and Su Feng into the secret passage on the left. After a while, they came to another crossroads. Yu Junqi stared at Su Feng. Junior brother Su, do you remember these secret passages? Su Feng said, yes, the path in the middle leads to the bandit gathering hall. That's where the bandits rest. But judging from the current situation, the bandits might have expected us to attack here, so they must have set up an ambush in the secret passages. There are a few passages here that we have no choice. The three of us have to take one each. Remember Sir's words. If we encounter a powerful bandit, retreat first. Yu Junqi pointed to two secret passages. Su Feng and Six Feng immediately went into them. There's movement. After going a few feet deep, Su Feng heard movement. There were light footsteps and breathing sound. He was alert. There should be 5 bandits lying in ambush at the crossroads ahead. His ears twitched. Using his perfection stage ability, Su Feng discovered the bandits in advance and prepared to cast a spell. He grabbed a rock and threw it forward. Bang! Shoot him to death. Xiao in the end, a few bandits jumped out from the shadows. They didn't care what he was and hurriedly shot poison arrows at him, causing a series of clashing sounds. Cloud Lion Roar. Forming a hand seal, 2 monster mouths immediately appeared outside of Su Feng's body. With a whoosh, they suddenly attacked the back of the 5 bandits. When the bandits felt something strange and turned around, they were all hit by the Cloud Lion Roar and knocked down. Sword Heart Finger. His left and right hands formed sword chi and locked onto 2 of the surviving bandits. They were also in the secret path realm, which was why they were not killed by the Cloud Lion Roar. The other 3 were only in the flesh body realm. Naturally, they could not withstand his spell and were torn apart by the Cloud Lion Roar. Poison Tail Needle. The 2 bandits leaped up. Their cultivation bases were higher than Su Feng's. Although they didn't have empty bags, they had strange cages tied to their waists. They slapped the cages, and poisonous needles shot out from them. Pa. Leaning his body, Su Feng stepped on the rock wall and flipped over to dodge the poisonous needles. However, the bandits continued to release poisonous needles at him. They grabbed their bows and arrows and formed arrows. They took the opportunity to attack Su Feng like a storm. Su Feng, this time, I, Six Feng, will kill you with my own hands. He could deal with the enemies in the open, but he could not see the eyes behind his back. In the secret passage a few zhang away, Lu Feng was using his sinister eyes to stare at the battle between Su Feng and the 2 bandits. At this moment, he stopped smiling and took out a pearl from his empty pouch. There were many black patterns on the bead. Bone-rotting poison. Su Feng, I will make you die without a burial ground. Whoosh! Just as Su Feng was getting fiercer and was about to reach the bandits, Six Feng suddenly flicked its finger and the bone-rotting poison bead shot out. It was like a dark star, sneaking up on Su Feng from behind. However, the bead was not aimed at Su Feng. Instead, it was aimed at the wall. With a boom, it exploded. As the bone-rotting poison bead cracked open, a black gas suddenly sprayed out into the secret passage, enveloping Su Feng and the 2 bandits. At first, they could still hear some movement, but as the poisonous gas slowly disappeared, there was no sound at all. The bone-rotting poison was specially prepared for you. Now that you are the cult's favorite, I can only use this method to kill you. I don't want to get myself into trouble. Six Feng patted the bag on his waist again, and a flying sword appeared in his hand. It turned out that this person also had a magic treasure in secret. It was really hard to guard against. If he directly used the flying sword to sneak attack Su Feng, the latter would not be able to react. Killing with a breath, this was the power of the flying sword. The flying sword was like a weapon bestowed by the Grim Reaper, specialized in reaping the lives of cultivators. With the flying sword in hand, Six Feng carefully approached and saw Su Fang and the two bandits lying on the ground. Su Fang was covered in blood, and so were the bandit. It seemed like they had perished together with the bandit. Half of their bodies were entangled with the bandits' corpses. It could be seen that before they died, they were still fighting with the bandit. This is the result of going against my Lu family. Six Feng let down his guard and stared at Su Fang's corpse. He sneered. My Lu family is the real overlord of Tianzong City. In the future, we will establish a dynasty and surpass the Violet Fate Kingdom 3,000 years ago. That's right, Su Fang, you will never know that your family Su is the descendant of the Violet Fate Kingdom's royal family. It is because of this that my Lu family is worried about the rise of the family Su. We have been secretly using all kinds of methods to suppress the family Su. However, since you are dead, you won't be able to see your family Su being exterminated again. So, you should thank me. You don't have to sync with your family Su. After saying that, Six Feng turned around and was about to leave. Suddenly, a cold, killing intent flashed in his eyes. Lu Ming asked me to do something. If I kill you, I have to make it up to him. He is the Lu family's crown prince in the future, so I have to do this for him. He grabbed the flying sword and prepared to finish off the dead Su Fang with another strike. Die. Unexpectedly, the dead Su Fang suddenly opened his eyes and clenched his right hand into a fist. You. He actually didn't die. Six Feng was so scared that he trembled. He hurriedly stabbed the flying sword towards Su Fang's neck. Chi. A sword light shot towards Six Feng from a nearby bandit's corpse at lightning speed. It was too fast. With a flash of the sword light, a stream of blood spurted out from Six Feng's neck. No. The flying sword in Six Feng's hand fell to the ground. He pressed his hands against his neck. Boom. Pushing away the bandit's corpse, Su Fang stood up. It turned out that he wasn't injured. Although his body was covered in blood, he was still full of energy. Six Feng, you tried to kill me time and time again. Did you think that I didn't know that you were gravely mistaken? I know that you have been looking for an opportunity to make a move on me. This time, coming to the bandits' lair was the opportunity that you have been waiting for. I have crippled your lackey Han Li's cultivation, and today, you will die in my hands. My Lu family will not let you off, you little bastard. Six Feng died with his eyes wide open. Before he closed his eyes, he was still baring his fangs and brandishing his claws. I will let you die with your eyes wide open. He raised his hand and 3 goo worms crawled out from his palm. Do you know why I wasn't poisoned? It is because of these 3 goo worms. With them, most poisons are useless against me. Thump. Six Feng's eyes widened. His hands were still pressed against his neck. Then, he fell to the ground and didn't move anymore. I have finally gotten rid of you, you scourge. The Lu family will definitely not let me off, but by then, I will have already grown into a giant. It won't be you who will destroy me, but I will destroy your Lu family. He took Six Feng's empty pouch and the flying sword. Then, he stuffed Six Feng's corpse into a dark hole. This way, he didn't die. Instead, he disappeared from this bandit's lair. Reckless. Chapter 53. Six Feng has always been mysterious. I wonder how many treasures he has in his empty bag. After hiding Six Feng's body, he recalled the scene when he saw the mysterious woman hiding the male corpse at Purple Cloud Mountain. He did not expect that he would do the same thing today. You want to kill me? If I don't fight back, wouldn't it mean that I don't want to kill you? You forced me to kill you. Su Fang retreated step by step. Kill! At this moment, a few bandits rushed out of the secret passage. When they saw Su Fang, they condensed poisonous arrows or released poisonous scorpions. He flipped backward and dodged the attacks. His hands made a series of hand seals. The energy from the first layer of the secret passage gushed out continuously and suddenly turned into 6 1-foot-long sword chi. You're courting death. Ultimate Phantom Sword Technique. Swoosh. Ultimate Phantom Sword Technique. This was the technique that Luo Muxue rewarded him with. After a period of cultivation, he was already familiar with this technique. Although it was a simple technique, it was very practical. The hand seals were not complicated, and the key was that it was easy to master. The sword chi was like a faint shadow, and the momentum was like a ghost flashing. As Su Fang made hand seals, the sword chi was like a crescent moon in the dark night, faster than the poisonous arrows, killing the bandits one by one. When I release the ultimate phantom sword technique, there is a strange sublimation in my mind. Could it be that there is a certain effect from using my dermic powers? Su Fang made hand seals again. A few sword chi floated and condensed in the air, piercing through the air toward the bandits who were still breathing and struggling to resist. In a moment, the surroundings of the secret passage flashed with colorful lights, but they were all from the sword chi. Every time the sword chi flashed, blood splattered everywhere. After a few breaths, the bandits were lying on the ground one by one. The crossbows of the bandits are too powerful. Although they are not spiritual treasures, they are stronger than cold iron. Collect all of them and give them to Uncle in the future to strengthen the foundation of our family. Su Fang was no longer the ignorant young man a few years ago. He was always full of things, and the surrounding crossbows and other weapons were all emptied into his empty bag. Boom! All of a sudden, somewhere in the underground palace, an earth-shattering explosion occurred. The tremors swept across the entire desert, shaking Su Fang so much that he almost fell down. Some of the secret passages began to collapse in a small area. This explosion came from the depths of the forbidden area. It seems like experts like Qi Xinshui and Qiu Lingji are fighting with the bandit leaders. The secret passage was almost buried by gravel and yellow sand. Seizing the opportunity, they rushed forward. Not long after, they saw some sand bandits buried alive. After passing through a few more secret passages, a furious voice suddenly sounded from afar. "Who are you?" Another cold voice appeared. "Who I am is not important. Hong Yuetian, you have moved unhindered in the Star Duel's sand plains for many years. You are an intelligent person. So long as you do not cooperate with Crimson Swallow Mountain, then you are not my Tianmen province's enemy." When Su Fang heard this, he could not help but focus. Yang Zhongjue, so it was him who fought with Hong Yuetian. What do you mean by that? Can't you hear that Scarlet Swallow Mountain is protecting you? What they want is the 7 Stars Life-Chasing Sword, and my Tianmen province also wants the 7 Stars Life-Chasing Sword. Obediently hand over your sword to me, and I'll let you live. The conditions you gave are not very attractive. Do you think that with your strength, you can absolutely suppress this lord? Before I came, I had asked the higher-ups for an order. Hong Yuetian, as long as you hand over the 7 Stars Life-Chasing Sword to me, I will immediately allow you to build an immortal's abode within the borders of Tianmen province. You are the high and mighty abode master. This condition is not bad, but Scarlet Swallow Mountain promised me that if I hand over the flying sword to them, they will make me the second in command. Hong Yuetian, you have no choice. What do you mean this lord has no choice? You Tianmen province has always been superior to others, not putting anyone in your eyes. That Scarlet Swallow Mountain has already obtained a flying sword. As long as they obtain my sword and undo the seal, they will be able to sense the location of the 3rd flying sword. At that time, the Star Duel dynasty's treasury will belong to the Scarlet Swallow Emperor. So what if you are the lord of Tianmen province? Hong Yuetian, I gave you a way out, but you did not choose it. You want to walk through the gates of hell. This one is the Flying Feather Army's leader, Yang Zhongjue. I am the personal guard of Tianmen province's lord. Today I will take your head. What personal guard? Aren't you just a dog raised by Tianmen's Saint Emperor? Boom! Just as he finished speaking, a deafening impact came from the source of the sound. Boom! Boom! PFFF. He used his mental energy to activate his Great Circle ability. The impact was too sudden, and he could not seal his senses in time. As a result, the sound wave directly injured him. At the same time, large cracks began to appear around the secret passage, and there were already many sounds of the secret passage collapsing. Yang Zhongjue and Hong Yuetian are almost impossible to be Dharma opening realm expert. They are existences that have surpassed the Dharma opening realm. The battle is so terrifying. It seems like this bandit's nest will collapse soon. I have to escape. After consuming a channel activation pill, he still felt dizzy and his ears were ringing. His internal organs were also injured. Thinking about the two peerless experts fighting in the nest, he was afraid that many Flying Feather Army members and bandits in the underground palace would be buried alive under the yellow sand ancient city. Whoosh! He quickly ran to the other end of the secret passage. The back of the passage began to collapse, and large cracks also appeared in the secret passage in front of him. Su Fang looked for the exit according to his memory. When he was halfway through the secret passage, the front had already collapsed. He could not pass through it, and he could only choose another secret passage to escape. Along the way, he encountered a few more collapses. After turning back time and time again, Su Fang realized that he was lost and could not tell the direction. Now, all the secret passages looked the same. They were either ruins or cracks that were about to collapse. Yellow sand kept falling from the cracks, blocking the secret passage. The bandit's nest is about 30 meters below the ground. If I am buried underground, I will definitely die. Unless I am a Dharma opening realm expert. Escape and ascend to the sky. This was the only thought in Su Fang's mind. Thus, when he saw a secret passage, he ran into it. He did not know how many secret passages he had passed. When he felt that there were not many explosions around him, he stopped and looked around. This was a secret passage that he had never been to before. Boom! After an hour, he finally reached the end of the secret passage. It looked like there was no way out, but he still punched the wall and created another underground palace. The underground palace was somewhat dark. He could vaguely see 1 or 2 gems releasing a faint luster. Su Fang took out a few gems from his empty bag and used the luster to gradually illuminate the surroundings. As it turned out, he had accidentally entered another underground palace. The underground palace was empty. There were 2 secret passages on the left and right side. The ground was covered in a thick layer of dust. No one had been here for at least 1,000 years, and he could still feel a slight tremor under his feet. It must be the battle between Yang Zhongjue and Hong Yuetian in the Skeleton Sand Sea. The strong were the strong. Even nature could not stop their power. Fortunately, he was able to escape. Otherwise, he would have been buried alive under the nest. He hurriedly looked for a way out. He chose the underground palace passage on the right and carefully looked for a way out. Along the way, he passed by a few smaller underground palaces. The Star Duel dynasty had once built many cities. Many cities had connected passages, and in the end, they formed a dynasty. After circling the underground palace for a full day, suddenly, Su Fang slowed down. He found that the secret passage he was in seemed to be extending to the ground. It was like a steep riverbed that inclined upwards. When he was about to reach the ground, he entered another underground palace. There was no way out of this underground palace. There was a way out, but unfortunately, it was buried by yellow sand. It seemed like part of the exit had already collapsed. I guess this place is not too far from the ground. Just like when I was trapped in the sand Tua monster's nest, I can use the flying sword to force an opening. Thinking of this, he patted the bag, and the crystal soul sword flew out. Wait a minute. Just as he was about to activate the crystal soul sword from Luomushue and break through the ceiling of the underground palace, he suddenly pressed on the flying sword. Hong Yuetian once said that as long as the other two 7 stars life-chasing swords are unsealed or combined, I will be able to sense the aura of the third 7 stars life-chasing sword. No matter if it is from Tianmen Province or the Red Swallow Emperor, they will sense the aura of the flying sword in my hand. They will definitely come to kill me immediately. Furthermore, I have nowhere to run. I can only be found by Tianmen Province or the Red Swallow Emperor. Now I only have 2 choices. I will take the initiative to give the 7 stars life-chasing sword to Yang Zhongjue. This way, I can still make a great contribution. The remaining choice is to go against the 2 major forces and obtain the Star Dual Dynasty's treasure. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that it was a big problem. Hence, he turned around and left the underground palace. He destroyed the surrounding secret passages one by one, turning this place into a sealed space. Then, he returned to the underground palace. Luomushue is very powerful. She seems to be interested in the Star Dual Dynasty's treasure vault, but I don't know what this woman's purpose is. I must not use her power to deal with the 2 major forces. Master, if only you were here. You can give Feng some ideas. After calming down and analyzing for a while, Su Feng began to miss Yang Yizhen, the strong martial artist who had been through a lot. Unfortunately, distant water cannot put out a nearby fire. In the end, he still had to rely on himself. Fight for the great Tao, I need to be quiet. Su Feng suddenly thought of the fight for the great Tao that the mysterious woman in the ancient mirror taught him. That was a cultivator's heart sutra that he recognized. Maybe he could find something from it. After some time, Su Feng's eyes became more and more spirited. The heavens can be punished, and the earth can be destroyed. If the heavens block me, then I will destroy the heavens. If the earth blocks me, then I will burn the earth. The path of cultivation is the great Tao of all things. The path of the great Tao lies in the heart. If the heart is firm, it can stimulate the potential and break through all dangers. That mysterious senior is also very right. Cultivation is not about scheming, but about killing decisively. Cultivation is also not about being a coward and not being able to use it. Instead, it is about being decisive. Cultivation is not about being greedy for riches and honor, but about being clean and honest. Cultivation is not about living a long life, but about living every day well. Even if the road ahead is full of twists and turns and thorns, you have to move forward bravely and advance fiercely. So, the firm expression that he had when he rejected Yang Yizhen's request to reconstruct his meridians appeared on his face again. Master, I will rely on myself to find a way to survive. Tianmen Province and Red Swallow Mountain are not Deluo Golden Immortals or the 9 Underworld's gods. They are all cultivators with blood and breathing. I am not afraid of them. Courage and guts alone are not enough. I need a treasure that can suppress the strong. Otherwise, with my cultivation, how can I deal with them? After making a decision, he immediately activated the empty bag. With a flash of spiritual light, the empty bag that belonged to Altar Master Ling Feng and the ring that he obtained from the Shadowa monster's lair appeared in his palm. He had always wanted to open the empty bag to see how many treasures were inside. This was a gift for Hong Yuetian. Whoosh! After forming a seal, a large amount of spiritual light suddenly spurted out. Countless gems and a large number of spirit stones were first laid on the ground, followed by some demon beasts' inner cores, immortal pills, treasures, and a few jade scrolls. Oh my, what a rich man! I, Su Feng, have unintentionally become a landlord. Looking at the treasures that were piled up to a height of more than 10 feet, Su Feng was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. These treasures were 100 times more valuable than his family Su. Especially the treasures, immortal pills, spirit stones, and jade scrolls were even more indescribable. Treasures. I want a powerful treasure that can be activated. First, he had to find a suitable treasure. Anyway, this sealed space was temporarily safe. Chapter 54. More than 30 artifacts. If I use them all to equip my family Su's martial force, it would be easy to unify Tianzong City. All the artifacts appeared in front of Su Fang. Most of them were flying swords. There were also a few illusion cloud ropes and empty bags. There were also some saber and spear artifacts. Most of them were flying swords. There were more than 20 of them, and they were all spirit artifacts. None of them were flesh artifacts like the immortal thorn armor. His gaze fell on the artifacts for a full 2 hours. Finally, he cleared the flying swords one by one. 22 flying swords. I have mastered the ultimate phantom sword technique and learned some tricks to controlling flying sword. Why don't I combine all the flying swords here and have a sword formation? With 22 flying swords, even a Dharma whole realm expert would find it hard to resist. Sword formation. The flying sword's sword formation was not a spell, but a sword formation formed by artifacts. How powerful was that? He also cleared out the immortal pills. There were more than 300 channel relaxation pills and some other medicinal pills. He put the other treasures back into the empty bag and left behind a few jade slips. There were spells inscribed in them. If Hong Yu Tian or Red Swallow Mountain obtained them, they could definitely use these spells to control and restrain many lackeys. Cloud Lion's Roar, Heart Sword Finger, Dragon Snake Roll, and Ultimate Phantom Sword Technique. If I were to use them against the Heavenly Gates Prefecture, there would be a possibility that my identity would be exposed. I need to master a new technique. I don't need too many, just keep improving. I still want to cultivate the great giant diamond body, but unfortunately, my realm is too low. He released his thoughts and activated the jade slips one by one. Finally, he could not put down a jade slip in his hand. Flame-breaking finger. This spell is both a close-range and long-range attack spell. This is it. After choosing the spell, the 22 flying swords were also placed in front of him. He then grabbed 3 rune talismans and the ring. When he saw the rune talismans, Su Fang thought of Yang Yizhen. Master, this time disciple is going to compete with the 2 major powers. I will definitely be able to divide a portion of the treasures left behind by the Dual Star Dynasty. It is also a real opportunity to forge and cultivate. Even if the road ahead is full of thorns, disciple will not frown. Teleportation talisman. 1 talisman could teleport 10 li. This was Su Fang's true life-saving treasure. Even if he encountered an expert like Yang Zhongjue, he might be able to escape alive. Chi. He bit his finger and dripped his blood into the ring and the 22 flying swords. The flying swords were ownerless. His right hand reacted to them, but it was not as strong as before. After all, as Su Fang reached the realm of Secret Path, he could slowly control part of the power in his right arm and suppress the aura inside. After the flying swords fused with the blood, they immediately released spiritual energy. Xiao Xiao, the 22 flying swords leaped up and let out ear-piercing sword cries. Such sword cries far surpassed the Crystal Soul Sword. Magic treasures only need to be fused with blood. Without fusing with the internal restrictions, they can be directly activated with spiritual energy. It is already very difficult for ordinary people to activate 1 flying sword, but it is too difficult for me to activate 22 flying swords at once. Energy. I need more energy or to increase my cultivation in a short period of time. Controlling so many flying swords all at once, not to mention the Secret Path realm, even the Dharma Insight realm would find it difficult. After catching his breath, he began to study the ring. The ring was found in the underground palace of the Shadua monster's lair, along with the brute force spirit bow. When the blood dripped on the ring, it was quickly absorbed by the ring. It seemed that the ring was indeed ownerless. Su Fang immediately released his will and entered the ring. At this moment, the ring was shining, as if it was alive, releasing a bright light. Spirit Concealment Ring. Many restrictions appeared in his mind, and 3 ancient words floated among them. Fortunately, Su Fang could understand them. Spirit Concealment Ring was the name of this storage ring. As he went deeper into the space, there were too many restriction handprints. There were no more words inside, but countless array seals. He could only grasp these handprints and remember them one by one. With his current cultivation, he was unable to truly see through the Spirit Concealment Ring. But once he grasped the handprints, he could activate the Spirit Concealment Ring. Su Fang did not know the power of the Spirit Concealment Ring, so he tried to use a handprint, and at the same time, poured some spirit energy into the Spirit Concealment Ring. Buzz after forming the handprint and activating the spirit energy, the Spirit Concealment Ring suddenly flashed and appeared on Su Fang's finger. Starting from Su Fang's finger, palm, and arm, it slowly disappeared. Could it be that the Spirit Concealment Ring has the ability to become invisible? Su Fang was pleasantly surprised to see a part of his body disappear, but he felt that the concealment speed had slowed down, so he urged more spirit energy. Sure enough, his whole body was hidden. Su Fang could not even see his own body, but he could clearly feel every part of it. Treasures. I actually accidentally picked up a great treasure. Once I hide it, not only will my enemies not be able to see it, I can even silently kill them. However, while I'm hiding, I also have to suppress my breathing and aura. Cultivators don't even need to use their eyes to sense dangerous auras. Retracting his spirit energy, his body suddenly appeared, and activating his spirit energy, his body disappeared again. After going back and forth a few times, Su Fang's eyebrows were full of sweat. At this time, he found that the amount of spirit energy consumed by activating the Spirit Concealment Ring was about the same as activating the 22 flying sword. Price with a cultivation base that could not reach the level of a magic treasure, forcibly activating a magic treasure would inevitably consume spirit energy. This was the price Su Fang had to pay to activate the Spirit Concealment Ring. Although it was a bit imperfect, he still had an excited smile. With this magic treasure, he would have more means to compete with the strong. If my cultivation base is not enough, then I will use magic treasures to make up for it, He immediately put away the 22 flying swords and took a channel relaxation pill. As for the Spirit Concealment Ring, he could not see its shadow at all. It was hidden on his finger, and only by activating it could it show its true body. Now what I need to do is to raise my cultivation base and store energy. In the desert, I will use the Origin Sacred Mirror to cultivate, and the energy will be rolling. In addition, I will kill Shadua monsters to condense energy seeds. The Dual Dynasty's treasury will certainly have a share of my Su Fang. He stood up in a split second and patted the bag at his waist. With a buzz, a flying sword shattered the top. With a rumble, the sun and yellow sand poured down at the same time. Su Fang grabbed the flying sword and jumped up, flying out of the yellow sand and finally returning to the ground. Looking around again, he could not see the shadow of the skeleton sand sea. He was worried that Yang Zhongjue would get the 7 stars life-chasing sword and then unseal it. Sensing the aura of his flying sword, he ran into the depths of the desert. Skeleton sand sea. It was no longer as mysterious as it used to be. Pieces of broken rocks and city walls protruded from the yellow sand. This place had become a ruin. In the desert not far away, dozens of bandits were bound by the illusion cloud rope and exposed to the sun. Qi Xinshui suddenly walked over and ordered the Flying Feather Army, "Kill these bandits. Leave no one alive." TSK. TSK. With a raise of his hand, the Flying Feather Army did not even frown. One after another, scalding heads fell into the yellow sand. Not far away, there were more than 20 Flying Feather Army corpses and more than 10 Jade Heron Army martial artists' corpses. It seemed like Tianmen province had also suffered heavy losses. Qiulingji was covered in blood. She brought Yu Junqi, Lianzhan, and Li Suqing to Qi Xinshui and said, "Senior brother, I have roughly figured it out. There are still more than 10 people missing, including 2 members of my Silver Moon team. The nest collapsed, so it's impossible for it to be completely blocked down there. Perhaps there are still some survivors, but we have no way to save them. Right now, all the secret passages have been blocked. Whether or not they can survive will depend on their luck." After Qi Xinshui heard this, his expression immediately froze. Just as he was about to continue speaking, he suddenly turned to the side and said, "Senior brother Yao." More than 10 Jade Heron Army soldiers were led by a middle-aged man and walked towards Qi Xinshui. Lu Lan was among them as well. The man cupped his fists towards Qi Xinshui and Qiulingji. "My Jade Heron Army still has a few brothers who have lost their whereabouts. I hope the 2 of you can put in more effort and try your best to rescue them. It is also possible to find their corpses. There is also a junior brother in your army named Lu Feng. He is from the same clan as my junior sister Lu. I hope you can find him as well. My Lu clan cannot die here for nothing." Unexpectedly, before the other party could reply, Lu Lan took 2 steps forward. His exquisite craftsmanship had a cold aura. Yu Junqi was enraged. "What status do you have? Is there a place for a new disciple like you to speak?" "What status do I have?" Lu Lan suddenly became even more domineering than before. He was like a cold moon high up in the sky and had an aura that didn't belong to the mortal world. "If your Flying Feather Army doesn't give me an explanation, the Jade Heron Army will no longer cooperate with you in the future if the Flying Feather Army has any requests. Senior brother Yao, this junior sister's intentions are also your intentions." Qi Xinshui didn't seem to be moved. He just looked at the middle-aged man. "Brother Qi, junior sister Lu is related to an important figure. This important figure is the current prefecture lord, and he will also give in to her. You better find Lu Feng's corpse. If he is alive, I want to see him. If he is dead, I want to see his corpse. This is a very normal request. Otherwise, I am afraid the Jade Heron Army's leader will step forward and speak to your army's leader directly. Goodbye." The man politely led Lu Lan and left. An important figure that even the prefecture lord will give in to. Qiulingji looked at Qi Xinshui and said, "Even a small Lu clan can turn things around. Junior sister, let's work together with a few experts and use Lu Feng's command token's aura to sense the situation. Even if we have to expend a lot of energy, it will still be better than letting the leader step forward. I understand Yao Shua's character very well. Hence, Lu Lan does indeed have an unusual relationship in Tianmen province. We cannot make things difficult for the leader. Let's go." After speaking, the 2 experts led a few powerful Flying Feather Army experts and flashed towards the center of the nest ruins. Far away, the Jade Heron Army's man named Yao Shua pointed at the desert ruins and said to Lu Lan, "Junior sister, you can rest assured. With Qi Xinshui's cultivation that is close to the mystical power realm, there is a high chance that he will be able to find your brother." Lu Lan was still cold and elegant. "The Flying Feather Dojo's strength is indeed comparable to my Jade Heron Army's. They are close to the mystical power realm. In Tianmen province, other than the leader and the higher-ups in the inner circle, how many people are at the mystical power realm? Senior brother Yao, I will have to trouble you today. Junior sister, even the leader made an exception to nurture you. You were even personally received by the prefecture head. In the future, I, Yao Shua, will still have to rely on junior sister. Junior sister's matters are my matters as well. A higher-up of the Jade Heron Army, an existence like Qi Xinshui, was actually treating a seedling that had just entered Tianmen province like a servant treating a master, and was praising her endlessly. Senior brother has taken care of me along the way. In the future, if junior sister has the ability, I will definitely give senior brother a better way out. Lu Lan didn't stand on ceremony. She didn't know what kind of influential figure was backing her up for her to be so domineering. Boom! In the nest ruins, there was a sudden burst of flames that soared into the sky. Illusion Cloud Rope. Qi Xinshui and Qiu Lingji brought Yu Junqi and the other experts to stand beside the surging sand layer. They gathered everyone's strength and grabbed at the collapsing whirlpool. A golden light rushed out. Crash! The illusion cloud rope wrapped around a corpse that didn't look like a human and flew out from the collapsing sand layer. Six Feng is indeed dead. The corpse landed on a piece of rock. Qi Xinshui and Qiu Lingji surrounded it and took down the command token to verify it. Qi Xinshui then started to inspect the corpse. Not only did he have to confirm Six Feng's identity, but he also had to confirm his approximate cause of death. Author's words. After New Year's Day, there are many people everywhere. I might as well stay at home and watch TV. Chapter 55. Senior Apprentice Brother. Looking at this sword wound, Six Feng should have been ambushed by someone using a flying sword. Qiu Lingji finished inspecting the wound and finally had an answer. Qi Xinshui also confirmed the wound and calmly said, Six Feng's cultivation is at the third stage of the secret path realm, and his cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds recently. Previously, I did not know what kind of fortuitous encounter he had, but from Lu Lan's appearance, Lu Lan must have given Six Feng a lot of benefits, allowing him to improve by leaps and bounds. We do not care about that. Since the corpse has been found, bring this person to the Jade Heron Army's camp. Treat this person well, or else you will suffer when you reach the Jade Heron Army. Do it. The three immediately carried Six Feng's corpse and left the ruins. I wonder who will win in the end between the leader and Hong Yuetian. The leader has reached the Transcendent Realm and is a famous expert in Tianmen Province. He is on par with the 8 directional cave masters. Even if Hong Yuetian is not simple, he will not be the leader's opponent in the end. Let us clean up the battlefield. The two higher-ups also turned and left. In the depths of the Star Dual Desert, there was already a long distance away from the Skeleton Sand Sea. This desert should belong to another group of bandit. Under the scorching sun, a figure stepped on the yellow sand and flew over. It was as if he was running in flames, his entire body emitting a faint crimson aura. After several days of continuous travel, Su Feng was already far away from the Skeleton Sand Sea, and directly in front of him, behind the desert, was Red Swallow Mountain. There was a famous expert there, the Red Flame Emperor, who had repeatedly opposed Tianmen Province. He was an existence that Tianmen Province had always wanted to deal with and eliminate. There are many bandits here, and the terrain is complicated. Even if Tianmen Province and Red Swallow Mountain can sense the aura of this flying sword on my body, they will not be able to pinpoint my location in a short period of time. I can use this place to pass off as a fake. After comparing the map, Su Feng no longer moved forward and began to search for a place to stay in the vast desert. Shadua monsters. Several whirlpools suddenly appeared in front of him, and the desert whirlpools devoured each other. Su Feng was very familiar with this, but he rarely encountered Shadua monsters killing each other. Suddenly, he smiled proudly and raised his hand. The Origin Sacred Mirror appeared in his hand. He immediately faced one of the yellow sand vortexes and released the 9 Yang Zhen Qi condensed from the immemorial Yang Zhen Qi in his body. With a buzz, a red light swept toward the yellow sand vortex. The primordial chaos saint seemed to be entangled by gravity. Su Feng exerted his strength and with a boom, a sand Tuo monster was pulled out of the whirlpool along with the yellow sand. The Shadua monster trembled as it was entangled by the red light, unable to move at all. Su Fang immediately activated his 9 yang true qi and quickly poured it into the red light. No one knew what he was going to do. Hu Qi, the 9 yang true fire, instantly enveloped the Shadua monster, and the flames were slowly absorbed by the ancient mirror. If I can control a Shadua monster and use it as my mount, then I can freely travel under the desert. In that case, Tianmen Province and Red Swallow Mountain won't be able to do anything to me. It turned out that the reason he wanted to control the primordial Chaos Saint was to capture a Shadua monster to use as a mount to travel under the desert. Unfortunately, the primordial Chaos Saint was not something he could easily control. In the end, the Shadua monster was burned to death and a huge bead appeared. Su Fang swallowed the bead in one gulp. Now was the time to raise his realm. The energy contained in a bead was enough to make the 9 yang zhen qi in his body powerful and majestic. In just a few beads, he would be able to break through to the second layer of the secret passage. He then pointed the ancient mirror at a yellow sand whirlpool at the side, and sure enough, he pulled out a Shadua monster. Su Fang patted his empty pouch, and a flying sword struck the immobilized Shadua monster. Blood instantly dripped onto the yellow sand, and Su Fang even deliberately let the blood spread out. In this way, the surrounding whirlpool surrounded him. I need to find a powerful Shadua monster. It's best if it's an existence that has cultivated into a spirit and can be controlled as a mount. It can also become a power in my hand. As a mount, he had to think of ways to use his own advantages to strengthen his own power. He controlled the 9 yang zhen qi to control the red light released by the ancient mirror. This time, it was delayed for a while before he finally released the 9 yang zhen qi to burn the Shadua monster. This meant that it was possible to control the primordial Chaos Saint. At the very least, he could delay it for a while. At this moment, because of the blood, more than 20 yellow sand vortexes appeared in front of him. When he suddenly looked over, this desert had already become a vacuum that swallowed everything. Su Fang was shocked. Whatever, he began to look for the biggest whirlpool. The bigger the movement and the bigger the area, the more powerful the Shadua monster hidden below. Got it! A huge whirlpool suddenly appeared behind the swaying desert vortex. The yellow sand was stirred up and scattered. The area of the whirlpool was twice as big as the surroundings. Su Fang waited for the whirlpool to get closer. When it was about 15 meters away, he immediately pointed the ancient mirror at the whirlpool. Red light surged out as if even the ancient mirror felt that this Shadua monster was somewhat different. With a powerful wave, a huge Shadua monster was lifted up by the ancient mirror from the yellow sand. This Shadua monster was twice as big and was almost 30 meters long. The soft armor on its body was also the same color as the yellow sand. It was unknown how heavy it was, but Su Fang, who was controlling the ancient mirror, couldn't feel that much weight. The moment the Shadua monster appeared, it began to struggle. In the end, it couldn't move at all. Its eyes were filled with fear as it begged Su Fang for mercy. Human, let me go, let me go. That artifact in your hand is about to make my body explode. As expected, it was a Shadua monster that had become a spirit. Its strength was very terrifying, and it was at least an expert on the same level as Qi Xinshui and Qiulingji. I can let you go, but you have to be my mount in the future. How about it? The Shadua monster agreed. Sure. Quickly stop that ancient mirror. My energy is almost being sucked dry by it. Buzz. Su Fang immediately spat out even more 9 yang qi and blocked the red light before pouring it into the ancient mirror. He then moved the surface of the ancient mirror so that it was no longer facing the Shadua monster. After spending a lot of effort, the Shadua monster fell to the ground with a rumble. The ancient mirror also returned to Su Fang's hand, and the red light was no longer there. Tut. Who knew that the rescued Shadua monster would not be willing to be a human's mount? It hurriedly drilled into the yellow sand. I will not let you go. It seemed like Su Fang had already expected the Shadua monster to make such a move. He pointed the surface of the mirror at the Shadua monster again. Half of the Shadua monster's body drilled into the yellow sand. When the majority of its body was also buried in the yellow sand, a buzzing sound was heard. The red light shone on the yellow sand layer where the Shadua monster was and restrained it. Human, I was wrong. Let me go. Under the sand layer, the Shadua monster's desperate begging sounded. The Shadua monster was lifted up from the yellow sand again. I will let you go. I will implant my power into your inner core to control you. If you are not willing, then don't blame me for being impolite. Fine. The Shadua monster was truly subdued this time. Su Fang also had to seize the time to condense a large amount of 9 yang qi. The Shadua monster also cooperated and released a demonic light from its lower abdomen. A blood-red inner core floated out. The instant the 9 yang qi poured into the inner core, it collided with the demonic qi and then forcefully poured into the golden core. The Shadua monster did not dare to stop it and could only watch as Su Fang's strange energy entered the inner core. From now on, the Shadua monster would have to resist this 9 yang qi and be tortured by it. Su Fang once again released his 9 yang qi to cover the ancient mirror and once again forcibly rescued the Shadua monster from the red light. This time, the Shadua monster was well behaved. Master, move that magical treasure away. I'm afraid just looking at it. If it shines on me again, I'll lose control of my body. The Shadua monster was like a soft worm lying on the yellow sand, dispirited. Let me tell you, my energy is inside your inner core. It will constantly devour your demonic yang qi. Yang qi also represents life energy, so it is equivalent to absorbing your lifespan. If you are obedient, I can even help you suppress your yang qi. No wonder when that magical treasure shines on me, I feel like my body is being sucked dry, boiling and exploding. Master, I will be loyal to you. The Shadua monster expressed its sincerity. Since he cultivated yang qi, Su Fang had searched for all kinds of information regarding yang qi. Only then did he learn that yang qi was everything to life. The stronger the yang qi, the more powerful the life force and the longer the lifespan. The 9 yang qi he cultivated was also a kind of yang qi. By injecting his 9 yang qi into the Shadua monster's inner core, he could absorb the monster's life energy, causing the monster's organs to fail and die. Shadua monster, you will often follow me around in the future. Once I summon you, you will have to hold me in your mouth and travel through the sand. This is a meridian loosening pill, your reward. Su Fang took out a meridian loosening pill, and it was a very high-grade meridian loosening pill, and fed it to the Shadua monster. Then, he took out the chaos sacred mirror and shone it at a yellow sand whirlpool beside him. He easily pulled out the other Shadua monster and quickly burned it to ashes. When the Shadua monster saw how powerful Su Fang was, it trembled in fear. Su Fang found a rock and pointed the primordial chaos sacred mirror at the 2 suns in the sky. Soon, primordial yang qi seeped out from it. Su Fang then refined the 2 energy beads he had consumed. The 9 yang true qi surged fiercely in his meridians. The yang meridian is not easy to condense. The main reason is that I am unable to control the meridians in my body. If I can control the meridians perfectly, I can concentrate the 9 yang qi to attack the meridians and finally cultivate the yang meridian. Several days passed in the blink of an eye. Bang! Without any warning, a burst of energy suddenly exploded in Su Fang's body. Impurities surged out from his pores. At this moment, Su Fang's aura revealed 2 layers of weak energy. Second layer of the secret passage. At the same time, the power of the breakthrough surged into his head at lightning speed. White smoke rose from the top of his head. Su Fang felt that his consciousness was about to fall into a deep sleep due to the impact of this energy. The secret passage realm cultivated the divine aperture and magic power. Every time he advanced, the power of the breakthrough would bring all the nutrients in his body to attack the divine aperture in his head, causing his magic power to condense. Under the impact, Su Fang felt a faintly discernible passage appear in his mind. This passage seemed to be a bridge between the human body and nature. The aura inside was broad and profound, as if every strand could activate any magic treasure. Magic power. Could this be the divine aperture and magic power? What was the divine aperture and magic power like? Su Fang had never felt it before, but under the sweeping power of the breakthrough, he suddenly felt something. After a few hours, his physical body stopped the impact. He immediately checked the changes in his body. In fact, the changes were not too obvious. Only his meridians were slightly larger, and his 9-yang qi was purer. Buzz, suddenly, there was an impact deep in his right arm, as if it was absorbing the energy that Su Fang had just improved. I have been focusing on cultivating the 9-yang 9 transformations, so I didn't pay attention to the purple light in my right arm. Just now, it absorbed a part of the energy. It seems that it is silently undergoing some changes. After thinking, he swallowed the bead that was condensed from burning the Shadua monsters. Yang Qi began to sweep through his entire body. With his sea of Qi as the center, the more mysterious 9-yang qi absorbed the energy of the bead and surged into his bones and skin. Buzz. All of a sudden, his empty pouch started to vibrate as if it was not under his control. There was a faint movement coming from the inside. Chapter 56. How could there be movement in the empty bag? His brows suddenly furrowed. He slapped the bag and a sword chi buzzed out. It turned out to be the 7 Stars Life-Chasing Sword. Su Fang did not activate the 7 Stars Life-Chasing Sword, but the 7 gems on the flying sword flickered with a peculiar luster, causing Su Fang to hastily absorb the flying sword into the empty bag. Tut-tut! A whirlpool appeared in the desert ahead. The yellow sand quickly parted, and the Shadua spirit quickly crawled out. The latter flashed, and the Shadua spirit also opened its mouth, sucking Su Fang into its mouth and hastily burrowed back into the sand. Inside the Shadua spirit's mouth, Su Fang sat cross-legged. The Shadua spirit curiously asked, "Master, could there be danger?" Su Fang patted the Shadua's monstrous teeth. "Don't dive into the sand for now. See if there are any cultivators on the surface." The desert whirlpool slowly twisted, and a pair of blood-red demonic eyes appeared, slowly turning left and right. After about half an incense stick's time, the demonic eyes suddenly contracted. Hu! A group of cultivators suddenly appeared in the sky. These cultivators each stood on flying swords, wore armor, or wielded all kinds of divine weapons. As they flew across the desert, they stared at every movement on the ground. As expected, there are many cultivators, more than 20 of them. Do you recognize them? I recognize them. These people's clothes are embroidered with a swallow. They are cultivators from Red Swallow Mountain, and each and every one of them is very powerful. Several of them have reached very high realms of the magic hole realm, and one of them is even at the divine ability realm. Could the divine ability realm be above the magic hole realm? Yes, the divine ability realm is a true divine ability cultivator. Their magic power is boundless, and one palm strike can kill little me. In several breaths, several dozen breaths, they can fly across the star dual sand plains. Regardless of whether it is in Tianmen Province or Red Swallow Mountain, or even this star dual sand plains, the divine ability realm is the absolute overlord. Let alone the divine ability realm, even the magic hole realm is very powerful. What is your cultivation? Little me is at the magic hole 6th stage. In this desert, as long as I do not leave the desert, even divine ability realm experts can't do anything to me. Leave this desert and find a complicated place to release me. To think that Scarlet Swallow Mountain's powerhouses would rush over so quickly. Su Fang sensed that the Shadua goblin was moving. His right hand had been pressing on the empty bag. The 7 Stars Killer Sword had reacted. It was very likely that the other 2 flying swords had been unsealed. The owners of the 2 flying swords had sensed the existence of the 3rd flying sword, which was his existence. Silent for a moment, Su Fang had to think of a way to increase her strength. Shadua spirits, where are the gathering grounds of demon beasts in the vicinity of the starred dual sand plains? The more, the better. The Shadua demon answered, south of Scarlet Swallow Mountain, there's a flaming mountain. A large number of demons gather there all year round. This flaming mountain is called the Red Palm Volcano because it looks like a human's palm. After going through the map in his mind, Su Fang asked again, that's the Red Palm Volcano. I know about the Flaming Mountain as well. Why are there so many demons there? I don't know what kind of treasures are inside the Scarlet Palm Volcano. Occasionally, the volcano will erupt, and fire elemental treasures will gush out. It's very suitable for demons to cultivate. Some powerful demons stay there all year round, waiting for the volcano to erupt again and again. That's especially true of a black flame monster. Black flame monster! I heard that guy's cultivation is very profound. I don't know what kind of treasure it obtained inside the Red Palm Volcano, but it broke through to the divine realm and practically became the king of the Red Palm Volcano. Even the cultivators of Scarlet Swallow Mountain do not dare to go there. I also heard that the Scarlet Swallow Emperor once fought with the Black Flame Monster, but he was unable to defeat it. Impossible! Master, this world has many powerful big goblin. Some big goblin can transform into human form. Even the Lord of Tianmen Province is not a match for those exceptional big goblin. Then bring me to the Red Palm Volcano. Master, I am unable to leave the desert. Just bring me to the edge of the desert. This time, I want to charge into the Red Palm Volcano. You should know what I want to do. The Shadua demon trembled and said in fear, Master has that strange mirror. If you encounter a black flame monster, it can suppress it. Master wants to subdue the black flame monster or enter the Red Palm Volcano to seize that legendary treasure. You are quite smart. Even the Shadua demon knew his goal of going to the Red Palm Volcano. Master must be careful. Your magic weapon seems to be unable to deal with all demons at the same time. That black flame monster must have subdued many demons. I will see if there is a chance. If not, I will deal with the ordinary demons. Su Fang had his own plans. In fact, he only wanted to burn and kill a large number of ordinary demons. As for that black flame monster, if he could deal with it, then he would deal with it. If he could not, then so be it. In any case, if he could win, then he would fight. If he could not win, then he would flee. Increasing his strength was the way to go. About 2 hours later, Su Fang heard the sound of wind. The Shadua demon immediately opened its mouth. Su Fang took a step forward. As expected, there was a large forest in front of him. Grabbing the 7 Stars life-chasing sword, he handed it to the Shadua demon. This is the 7 Stars life-chasing sword. The Scarlet Swallow Mountain's experts are looking for it. Take the flying sword and wander around the star dual sand plains. Wait for me to return and I will summon you. The Shadua demon immediately burrowed into the yellow sand and disappeared. Su Fang dashed through the forest. A few days later, he saw a large palm pressing down on a flame. Scarlet Palm Volcano. I never imagined there would be such a place of uncanny craftsmanship. Passing through the last mountain range, Su Fang already arrived at a land full of volcanic ash. Looking from here, he could not see any plant. The volcanic ash had swallowed everything. Stepping on the volcanic ash, he ran towards the burning mountain range in front of him. He could not see any human figures in the surroundings. When he arrived at the mountain range, he immediately felt a heat wave from the depths of the mountains. Each mountain peak seemed to be burning, and the mountainsides were filled with layers of black smoke that did not disperse all year round. Woo, just as he arrived at a small mountain, he estimated the temperature to be close to 60 degrees. Suddenly, a large expanse of volcanic ash rose up in front of him, accompanied by the cries of demons. Su Fong cheerfully sized up the area in front of him. This is great. I can encounter a demon beast as soon as I arrive. I'll burn and kill one first. I'll take the chance to break through the third layer of the secret passage and grasp even stronger magic energy. Whoosh whoosh. Just as he was about to act, several golden lights flashed from the volcanic ash. It was unexpectedly the illusion cloud rope. Immediately, several demon beasts rolled out, and several cultivators attacked from behind. Like butchers, they controlled their flying swords to cut the demon beasts into pieces and took out red inner cores. These inner cores were very special and seemed to be able to release flames. We killed 3 lesser demons under the black fire monster. These demons have been absorbing the fire elemental spirit chi spewed out from the back of the mountain all year round. Even their inner cores have gradually become fire elemental spirit chi. They're too valuable. These inner cores are very valuable. We should leave. If the black fire monster really gets angry, he'll cut us into pieces. Let's hurry down the mountain. After the cultivators obtained the inner cores, they discussed for a while and went straight down the mountain. So these people are here to hunt demons and obtain their inner cores. Inner cores were treasures that every disciple in Tianmen province wanted to have the most. With them, they could give them to Tianmen province and obtain military merit. Step by step, they would become the upper echelons of Tianmen province. These few inner cores were enough to exchange for empty bags or spirit treasures. For ordinary cultivators, it was undoubtedly a fruitful trip. Whoosh! Su Fong took the opportunity to summon the primordial chaos sacred mirror and shone it at the demon corpses. After a burst of red light, the 9 yang true fire burned the corpses to ashes and finally condensed into an energy bead. The Dath surroundings were densely covered in black smoke. Just as he was about to continue searching for monsters, a sudden collapse came from the black smoke world on his left. It was as if the mountain had collapsed. It was as if an army had suddenly woken up from a deep sleep, broken through the seal, and shattered the coffin. They were stepping on the huge mountain towards Su Fong. Such a movement caused Su Fong's pupils to shrink. He looked behind him and saw a cave. With a few steps, he nimbly slid into the cave. He stopped breathing and raised his head. From the scattered volcanic ash, he saw huge monsters appear. Hula! The volcanic ash rolled away. The monsters had ruthless eyes and murderous auras as they advanced toward the burning mountain peaks in the distance. Their footsteps were orderly, just like a monster army. There were about 60 monsters of different sizes. They breathed out time and time again, as if they were spitting fire. Their shoulders and heads were also covered in a layer of flames. Su Fong stared at such a rare demon army with a shocked expression. The Shadua demons were right. This is indeed the territory of monsters. Roar, roar, the king wants us to surround and kill that human. We can't delay. Otherwise, the king will eat us all. A hoarse and fierce demon roar came from among them. Human! After hiding for a while, when he could no longer hear the footsteps, Su Fong immediately crawled out of the cave and rushed in the direction where the demons came from. After passing through the mountainside, Su Fong saw a cave formed by the collapse. It was called a cave, but it was actually a cave. He did not know where it led to. Thinking of the collapsing and shattering sounds he heard before, it seemed that the demons had killed their way out of this cave. In the end, when they rushed out, they caused the surrounding cliffs to collapse, causing the cave to appear in Su Fong's line of sight. Boom boom, the mountain range suddenly shook again. This time, it was not a collapse. Instead, it was the peaks of the Red Palm volcano that were surrounded by flames that suddenly spewed out a large amount of magma. The center of the volcano spewed out like a waterfall and then spread out in all directions like drifting rain. It's too dangerous here. Let's leave first. With the demon army and the eruption of the volcano, there was danger everywhere. Su Fang decided to leave, but it was obviously too late. The magma spewed directly over his head, and even the ground below the mountain dropped a large amount of magma. Now, he could not leave even if he wanted to. He did not want to be swallowed by the magma, so he ran into the cave in front of him. Soon, the magma flowed down from the mountain peak. Before Su Fang could catch his breath, the magma flowed back into the cave. Su Fang hurriedly ran into the cave. He did not know how far he ran until he passed by a cave. He saw some demons resting. It turned out that he had barged into a monster's nest. Su Fang hurriedly activated the spirit concealment ring and quickly ran past these caves before arriving at an empty cave. But before he could heave a sigh of relief, he felt waves of heat coming from behind him. He heard the sound of air colliding with each other. Every collision felt like the mountain was about to shake. Filled with curiosity, he ran deeper into the cave. After a while, he was forced to stop. That was because in front of him was actually bursting magma. In front of him was the mouth of a volcano. The mouth of the volcano was estimated to be 1,000 meters long. In the center, there were actually two forces colliding in the magma. It was obvious that there were peerless experts fighting there. What kind of fruit is that? It actually grew in the magma and is bearing fruit. Su Fang almost missed his footing. He was afraid that the peerless experts would notice him. Just as he turned around, he saw a fire pond in front of him. On top of a small fiery green tree, there was a flower that was bearing fruit. The fruit was emitting an incomparably pure spirit chi. Treasure, a peerless treasure. Since he had to leave, Su Fang gritted his teeth and patted his bag. The illusion cloud rope shot out and wrapped around the fruit that had just grown. With a whoosh, it returned to Su Fang's hand. The spirit fruit was incomparably fragrant. Just smelling it filled his body with energy. He immediately put it into his bag and turned around to run towards the cave. Who dares to steal treasures in this king's territory? After running a few steps, Su Fang heard the angry voice of a peerless giant demon. It caused the mountain to shake. His back broke out in cold sweat. He hurriedly activated the spirit concealment ring to escape. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.